You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
Some gobbledygook.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, gross atomic waste. From deep within the core, gross atomic waste.
Hello and welcome to the 455th edition of the Fallout feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, I've got Jess. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greeps, everybody.
And Ray. What's up, Ray?
Hello, hello.
Tonight on the show, we've got a lot of feedback we're going to get through. Feedback regarding the Fallout 3 DLC Roundtable that we are playing right now. If you are interested in including your feedback in our stories, please send us your 5-minute file to the Fallout feed at gmail.com to join in on our fun. Tonight, your feedback you will hear from Lee, also Nana Janet, Suliore, Leon, Vanessa, Matt, Dawn, Lee, Baker, and Sully. So everyone stick around. There's game time on here, but it's going to get pushed. I might as well not even mention it off the top of here. So Iguana Bits, a little bit of Iguana Bits on the way out the door, and maybe a shout. So let's go ahead and kick it off as we usually do. And Jess, did you get a chance to play any video games this week?
Andrew, we have to issue a correction.
Oh no, what I do?
I sent these iguana bits back to the counter, and I said, "Excuse me, these seem off." So a quick update.
Uh-oh.
I think most everybody actually knows, but last week I did mention that the Fallout TV show is coming out on April 12th, which was the announced date, for the last several months, but they updated it to April 11th when they released the new trailer. So everyone, April 11th, a Thursday, as opposed to April 12th, a Friday, it will be out and released.
Okay, so what is the business decision? What happened that goes into saying, oh, we're going to just crash the market if we move it to this Thursday instead of the Friday original? Why what goes into that decision? That is crazy.
I have a feeling it has to do with simultaneous release. I'm not positive that's happening, but I have seen in the past when they've announced a date and then they push it back one day, it's because they're doing simultaneous release. So it will still be, say, the 12th in New Zealand, and yet we get it a day earlier, aka the same time on the 11th. So we'll see if that's the case here, but I'm guessing that's why we're getting the bulk of it on the 11th. Otherwise, they were just being friendly, and they knew that Friday night we were going to record the Fallout feed, and we wanted a chance to watch.
We wanted to see it first.
Yeah, absolutely. Make way for us.
Yeah,
respect.
Okay. You know what's going to happen, though, is we're going to see it, and then we're all going to say, like, okay, now we can't talk about it because it'll be spoiler, and it'll look spoilers.
That's exactly what's happening.
It'll throw people out of their loop if they hear something that might have happened on a TV show that already happened. Oh.
Dumping all episodes at once. It's going to be a thing. So, we've got a number of people are going to still be trying to do like their feedback on the show. I had this idea that I was working on where I actually had a bunch of people already signed up to do a couple of episodes as the shows come out, but we know we're getting them all at once. So, we'll see what people do. And if we maybe do a little separate show talk ourselves and drop it as a separate feed on the Patreon or just as its own thing in the regular feed. Because we're going to want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Especially since all of already watched all 8 episodes.
I mean, if you can find the time.
Ray will
Hello.
burn through them. He burns time. That's what he does.
I am time.
I am so
time.
tempted to put in for the days off. I have, I looked at it on the calendar. Nobody has them yet, at least in supervision, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel guilty taking time off from work, but I really want to watch it. We'll see. Anyway, that's just a quick Iguana Bits correction. Had to send those back. Make sure everyone knows, not that you didn't already. Beyond that, when we get the real Iguana Bits, we've got a new community calendar. we've got some serious excitement. We even have an update on the next update and possibly the update after that.
An update on the update. Great.
Absolutely. How about them updates? So for gameplay this week, well, not a lot of Fallout. Sorry, guys, but you're going to get plenty of Fallout in your feedback, so don't worry there. My character in Fallout 3 is doing just fine, but hasn't done a whole lot since we made it back from Operation Anchorage. I do need to try out these new toys more because now that I have, the Gauss rifle, I want to practice with it because, man, it is wonderful. It is wonderful. And my laser pistol is better now, too. But I feel like I'm going to switch between the Gauss and a regular laser rifle. Ray, do you remember, do they both use the microfusion cells? Because it's good to have, two separate ammos. And the pistol uses energy cells. Rifle uses microfusion, right? I think so. I need to try that.
Shoot, where'd they go?
Yeah, I haven't used it enough. I haven't got a rifle yet this playthrough, but so that'll be an.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, cool. Because I know there's the electron charge packs, right? The ECMs or what have you, and the microfusion and the cells. But
yeah. Gauss's microfusion laser rifles are microfusion.
Okay, so I made a split pistol and Gauss then, but I've got that. I'm ready to keep trekking. But what I actually did this week was I mentioned a week or two ago I had gotten in on a sale, got a whole bunch of little games, and I played a couple of them this week. I got a new addiction because we all need a new addiction. I'm not saying I'm a junkies build, but if I were and games counted, I'd be doing major damage. So, Balatro. I mentioned I had touched it, I think, last week, but oh my God, Balatro. Okay, y'all. This is a really fun poker roguelike, if that makes sense. It's, kind of like, I compared it to Vampire Survivors because that was a roguelike that we were playing a year or so ago. It's a card game, but even though you use poker hands to score, because you do, it's like poker, all the rules are different. It's like if you mix poker with some of the chaotic rules of say Uno, that kind of chaos with, changing suits and colors and the way things multiply. And then also a game like Magic, where there are complete and total modifiers on the board and the way things score. And so, yeah, I probably put another 5 to 8 hours into Balatro this week at least. It's one of those games you're just like one more run. And you keep getting further and further. And here's the thing. I haven't won a game yet. Okay, in hours and hours. I know that might not sound like fun, but that's kind of the point of a roguelike is to win a run, you have to make it to ante 8. And each round, basically each set, has 3 rounds in it. So I've made it through antes 1 through 7. I've gotten to ante 8, which is the last one with a set of 3. Haven't beaten it yet. Bosses are difficult, but, I have friends who have, and it's a fun game. So yeah, if you like the idea of a poker card roguelike, and the graphics are very 80s. If they've got like fake CRT scan lines, even you can like control how much of that you get. They're trying to get that retro aesthetic. Okay, maybe this is a hipster game now that I'm talking about it. But it feels like a CRT. It's got old school kind of 80s graphics. It's kind of a little bit solitaire feeling too. Because you're playing cards with yourself. But yeah, great time. Highly recommend. I did another small story narrative RPG. Nothing to recommend, but it was a good time. It was called Hero in a Garden. So if you want a 5-hour, well, actually 3-hour visual novel RPG, that was a good time. And then Baldur's Gate was the main thing I played this week. And I'm not going to make you.
What's that one? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, you never have you? It's my other, current addiction.
What's that game?
Yeah. So I had to, and I know a lot of our listeners will feel my pain because we all play Bethesda games. I had to go back 10 hours. I lost 10 hours of my gameplay this week.
Now, had to, or something happened that you wanted to change, or lost a save, corrupted file, or what?
Why you gotta call me out like that? Let's just say I had to and didn't simply make a choice that I didn't like and have to reverse it. Yeah. So no, it wasn't the usual reason that we have where corrupted save file or something went very, very wrong. You had to go back on a bug.
Ooh.
That's usually why we do it. No, in this case, so I'm trying to do absolutely everything in my playthrough. And I had three major things I wanted to do in an area before I moved to the next. And I looked ahead to see, hey, can I do this first? Because I knew I was playing out of order, but I also felt like the one big thing is how I wanted to end Act 1. Well, it turned out that the big thing I went and did for 8 to 10 hours, when you finish it, it closes off two other quest points, two other quest lines. And they're not even that huge. When I made the hard decision. I was there like, do I go back? Don't I? I mean, we've all been there, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
I always call it paralysis by choice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, did I make a mistake? Do I want to redo this? And in this case, I decided I did, because if it was something that like I chose as my character, for role play reasons, that would be one thing. In this case, I knew that I want to do these things. I only did it in this order because I looked up if it was acceptable or possible. And multiple locations said it was. Well, these are multiple locations who don't really care about some of the finer points. Like, you can go back and do this. Well, you can go back and do the broad strokes, but sometimes the little strokes matter, okay? And there were some pretty big little strokes. I mean, people died. People died. Some people might not care about the little people, but I do. I care about my little pixel people. So, long story short, I went back. So I was 69 hours into Baldur's Gate, then I was 60 hours, and now I'm back to 67. So I put in good 16 hours this week, 17 hours this week. And yeah, I did the Goblin Camp, which anyone who has played listening, that was fun. A lot of people do Goblin Camp early. I did the entire Underdark first, and then all of Lae'zel's quest in the monastery before going to the Goblin Camp, because I thought Goblin Camp was the end. Once again, I know that was the wrong choice, and I am fixing it. But what a fun time that is, this party. And, people said Baldur's Gate was a really horny game. Okay, and I'm here to tell you, I thought they were exaggerating. And I went back, and oh my god, is it horny. Once you do this Goblin Camp, and you get to the party celebration afterwards, like 4 of the characters in my camp want to jump my bones. So, hey, if you're looking for a game where you want the companions to be all about it, way more than Piper ever was. My goodness. Yeah. Wow. They want to make you see stars. So anyway, I'm having a good time. Wait, not with that. I mean, I'm having a good time with Baldur's Gate. And, just progressing. I will finish Act 1 by next week. I'm positive. I should have by this week if I didn't go backwards.
Act fucking 1? You're talking about it like you're like you're in the throes of an adventure, like years in the making, and Act 1 still? Come on.
I say that. Hey, Andrew, remember, Fellowship of the Ring was the first book.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Sometimes the first act is really long. And there's a hell of a lot of walking
Sometimes
involved.
there's walking and more walking, and let's walk some more.
Oh, so much walking. And, Limbus. Anyway.
Limbus bread.
That was my gameplay this week, was trying to catch up. I would have played more Fallout 3, but having to redo all that stuff in Baldur's, I got focused.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ray, have you tried Baldur's Gate?
No, I have not.
You have no interest because of the style of the camera angle type thing?
Yeah.
Or what? Yeah?
Yeah.
What else you been getting into, Ray?
Just the huge. So I've been doing the Starfield challenge run, and the biggest challenge to that is that, whenever you follow something that a YouTuber's doing, it you play for like 10 minutes and then put it down for the day. And then the next day you play for 10 minutes and then you put it down.
They're slower than our feedback, right?
Yeah, it's incredibly slow going.
So wait, explain what you're doing. someone on YouTube is uploading a playthrough, and you're matching what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're only doing like 10 minutes of actual gameplay, but their episode is an hour
they're
long
about a
because
half hour.
they're
Half hour is the average
because they're talking and such. Okay.
Yeah, and explaining stuff and things. It's so it's Major Slack, and he is. I've done a lot of his Skyrim, legendary difficulty stuff and all that, and so it's definitely a very challenging run through because you can't use med packs or anything like that to heal, and you're playing on very hard difficulty, which I'm used to that a lot. But you also have to. One of the things is when I play very hard, I don't do any ship battles because they are excruciating in very hard, and so that's been a bit of a challenge. A lot of your ship blowing up and having to try again, but it's been interesting so far. I'm having a good time. Anything to make the game harder, because very hard is not hard enough. But in between time,
when is survival?
Exactly. In between times, I decided to take a third run through the new No Man's Sky expedition.
Do you gain something new each time you run through?
No.
Just experience and fun.
Yeah. It's a really fun expedition. So that's one good thing. But then so I started a new character just to kind of figure out there's some new mechanics to it. And so figuring out how to take existing characters, through and how to best get the most out of the stuff that you bring back with you and everything. So that's been fun.
Very cool.
And then in Fallout 3, I've been there were 3 more bobbleheads that I was kind of on the fence on getting because I didn't really care about them. It was the speech, barter, and charisma bobbleheads.
Why would you care about those? Don't you want to make a buck?
No, because I don't really need to. I don't buy anything, and I haven't even been selling anything because I don't need any caps to buy things.
What about like speech checks or anything like that? Do you need will bobblehead help for?
I have a shish kebab.
That's your speech check.
That's my speech check.
Yeah, you cut right to the meat of the discussion.
Exactly.
Oh, you guys are brutal.
And now I've got Jingwei's unbreakable sword. So
it's so good. I heard you talking about that on Starfield Addict too, just kind of going over, what you're doing. And I listened again, I'm just like, wow, he really is set with those weapons. But I do love the fact that you got to level 13, 14 before you even got them.
Yeah.
So good timing.
Yeah. So now I've got those bobbleheads. The speech one was extra fun because I got to go through and kill all the slavers, so that I could go and do Eulogy Jones's pad and pick up the bobblehead. Clover's pretty tough. She was the one I had the hardest time killing. She took quite a bit to take down. So the rest of them folded pretty easily. I went to Evergreen Mills and which one was that one? Was that the charisma or the barter? I think it might have been the barter. And then I went since I had had such an intimate relationship with Gary at the Operation Anchorage, I decided to go visit his clones and tell them how much I appreciated them being corpses.
Oh. I thought you were going to be sweet for a minute.
And picked up that bobblehead. So got those knocked out. And then went back to Megaton and got ready for the pit. So I have dumped all of my possessions except for a throwaway set of combat armor and Jingwei's sword.
Wow. By throw away, you mean put in a locker somewhere, right?
No, I'll just drop it because I don't care. It's not my winterized unbreakable combat armor.
Okay, right. So not the good stuff.
Right. And so, one of my key preps for the pit is to make sure that you have as absolutely little carry weight on you on your way in. You want just enough to be able to get through the first, little bit before you meet up with the first NPC that then takes away all your stuff. And the pit is loaded with great new weapons.
Are they real this time?
Well, all the ones I got in Anchorage are still real.
Well, kinda.
Thanks to Gary.
Yeah, if you're asking if he'll
I did not cheat.
he won't be pulling a tauntaun in any more bodies if that's what you mean.
They smelled bad. Yes.
I used a legitimate, game mechanic.
Legitimate, he says.
I mean, why else would that Gary be laying in that other room? Except
a game programmer was like, Ray's going to use this guy as a vessel.
Yeah, let's drape him over the back of a chair and wear him like a hat. Like, no. You do have to wonder though that maybe he was there as an Easter egg, but maybe they did think you could use him to store stuff.
Yeah, works like a charm. But anyway, so you come away with a lot of good stuff out of the pit. So as a melee character, I'll end up with an auto axe called the Mauler and the Man Opener.
The Man Opener.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
You also get a Deathclaw Gauntlet in there.
Yeah,
and Jess will get the best laser rifle in the game.
Really? In the pit?
Yep, called the Metal Blaster.
I don't remember the Metal Blaster.
So it does about half the damage of the Gauss rifle.
Okay.
But
shoots 3 times as fast.
But it's not single shot, right?
Yeah, you get 24 rounds.
Sweet. Okay, that is hot. I will like that.
Yeah.
And it does use microfusion. Okay.
Yeah, there's a special pistol that you get. And Andrew, you're big guns, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't get crap.
Mother. I need to reload and go back and get a flamer from the first thing somehow.
Yeah. So there's also some special armors and stuff that you'll pick up. There's another set of power armor that you'll be able to grab. There's 100 metal bars or steel bars in the pit, and make sure you get them all, because the rewards that you get at the end are based on how many bars you have.
Man,
I think it's like 10 bar increments.
Fuck that.
But you get some really, really nice stuff for gathering them all up. I think you need to get at least 20 to get out, but 100 to get all of the goodies.
That's the part I hate about expeditions, is having to examine every nook and cranny and stuff. Oh man, This. Do we get to hop on a heli chopper? What are those called?
Vertibird.
Vertibird. Do we get to hop on the Vertibird to go over to the pit?
I don't remember that being a thing. Nope.
So we have to.
You got to get there somehow.
Well, that's kind of the thing. You got to get there. And we all know that vertibirds are basically made by Boeing. So if you want to get there in one piece, better to go on foot.
Oof. Bird.
Also, sorry.
So dump all your gear before you go. But you implied that you still need some sort of firepower to get through an intro scene or something.
Yeah, you got to get through the entrance.
So take an off weapon.
And then they're going to take everything away from you. So
don't take anything that you are scared to lose.
Well, you'll
get it
back
at the end? Oh, okay.
Well, you get it back at after the first episode. So we're doing two quests. At the end of the second quest, it's either at the end of the second or the beginning of the third, you get all your junk back.
Yeah. I think it's the end of the second, actually. I don't think it's that long, but right around the same time, because it really opens up. Actually, no, you're right. The way that we did it, a lot of it's going to be in the second half compared to the first half, but getting there is a thing, and orienting yourself, making your way through. And Sullivan Chat mentions it's through the train tunnel, which obviously right. So it's on foot in the train tunnel.
Ooh, got to make sure I still have my ghoul mask.
Yeah, lots of ghouls. Yuck.
It's funny, I know people playing with the Roundtable aren't going to do this, but the version being made by the Capital Wasteland modders, I think they have a pre-release or a first version out right now. I've seen some people playing through bits of it. So if it's not out now, it should be out very soon. The Capital Wasteland version of the pit, like they did with Point Lookout. So really, if we were doing this a year from now, chances are like all the DLC will be done because they've been releasing that stuff first. Yeah.
Well, let's do it again in a year. What do you say?
But in Fallout 4 this time. Yeah, exactly.
That might be fun, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, so looking forward to hitting the pit. So.
All righty. Who else has got any gameplay? Oh wait, that's me. Maybe. Just a little bit of Fallout Shelter, really. I was up to 24, 25 perfectly trained specials at level 1. I'm up to 29 now. The only really exciting thing that happened this week is failed a quest twice. I sent people out to Vault 666 and got to there's like a big glowing rad scorpion in there, and I just couldn't pack enough stim packs, and so all 3 of the people died. It was shameful. But then I sent another party out to do the same quest again. I was like, ooh, we'll get it this time. And 2 out of the 3 people died on that one, and I brought the last person home before they died. I was just like, what the hell is going on? So I'm at a weird position where a lot of my leveled dwellers that I'm using for adventuring and for protection are now dying, and I've on purpose kept a lot of the level 1s at level 1, which means they're not very powerful and they're well trained, but they are fragile. You know what I mean? And it sucks when they die. I had one of the fully trained level 1s get killed today in a fire. I was so upset. That's oh man, 6 weeks of training down the drain. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just training up dwellers. Still looking for that level 7 endurance outfit. That's really the plan. After that, I can really start honing in the end game there. Well, also need the Dragon's Maw. I don't have the Dragon's Maw plan yet either.
Would you say that'll be the end of Act 1? All these hours in?
Yeah, and I'm realizing that all the people that have any sort of levels above 1 now will like ultimately be disposed of in some fashion. Like I'll have to off them because they'll need to be replaced by a, perfectly trained, dweller. So, I guess losing these people isn't quite such a bad thing, but I just wish that it'd hurry up and get that E7 outfit and the Dragon's Maw, and then we can really, embrace the, like you're saying, the middle portion of this competition here, I guess. Trying to complete as many quests as I can. There's an achievement on the Xbox. I'm starting to look at the achievements a little bit for Shelter.
There's something to aim for.
Yeah. I've got like 78 quests done. There's an achievement for getting 100 quests done. So, I'm trying to do 2 or 3 of those every day or every couple days. I don't know if I played every day last week. It's probably about every other day. I was messing around with the new kitty and stuff, but so just a little bit of Shelter. I didn't actually play any Fallout 3 at all this week, but it sounds like I need to get my act together.
We're slacking.
Dump some stuff off, and I have to hightail it to a rail tunnel somewhere.
There's a radio distress. You'll answer.
And I have to see. I haven't opened up the whole map, so it might take some investment of time to get there. I better stop lollygagging.
Yeah, there's a whole quest, but like I said, that's why we split it into 2. So you've got time. It's not too bad. Once you start it, you'll find yourself getting right into it. I would say that the 2 that we put in there is a little bit shorter than all of Anchorage together. So it's not like you got a whole Anchorage level thing ahead of you.
Okay.
You could probably do what we've got assigned in 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3
Anchorage was more like 4, I think, for most of us, 3 or 4 at least.
I don't know. I didn't really even time it.
That's the thing. I didn't either.
Yeah.
We estimate it, but I don't really know how long it took. Probably 4 hours.
Alrighty, guys. We got tons of feedback. You want to roll into that?
Let's go. Yeah, we're rushing through our...
Who we got up first here, Jess?
You know what? I'm excited to say, we've got a double dose of Lee this week.
What?
Lee.
So he gave us an update last week, but we didn't play it. Did we just get a double dose of the Lee song?
That was the double dose of the Lee intro.
Beautiful. Anyway, let's roll into it. This is last week's feedback, and then the official Operation Anchorage feedback will be later on in the show.
Greetings, Fallout family. This is Lee Benjamin in Fallout 3 presenting Come Out of the Brute's Journey. Come Out is currently level 13. Upon leaving Rivet City, Kalmata diverted to the Ranger compound and turned in map coordinates for Caps. She also got patched up by Dr. Butcher. I wonder if he's related to Ray. Approaching Megaton from the south, she then started to encounter giant fire ants. A boy named Brian ran up to her and told her that those ants had destroyed what little the town of Grey Ditch had and begged her to find his father and clear out the fire ants in town. She told him to wait in a nearby Pulaski Preservation Shelter, and she found his father in their house, dead. The ants seemed to be coming from Marigold Station, and after getting lost, she wound up in Falls Church. After finding many impassable areas, she then ventured into LOB Enterprises, hoping for a shortcut to another area. The building turned out to be much larger than anticipated, and basically led nowhere. The interior was full of robobrains and protectrons. The building then presented a surprise ending, a security bot. The LOB building turned out to be a large Chinese base and contained lots of parts useful for building all manner of custom weapons, and even some fusion batteries. Oh my! Kamada paused before leaving the building and read through the many notes she had accumulated. Going back to the subway system, she returned to the area of Marigold Station and found some lugnut's naughty nightwear. Oh my, indeed. Getting lost again, she emerged from DuPont subway station near the Anchorage War Memorial and the tepid sewers, which gave her an opportunity to complete Chapter 2 Or was it Chapter 3 of Moira's Wasteland Survival Guide? Kamada then headed west, hoping to find Vault 112, where her father went to look for Dr. Stanislaw Brown. He was hoping the doctor could provide new ideas for completion of a plan to provide fresh water to the entire Washington, D.C. area, Project Purity. While crossing the mighty Potomac River on a surprisingly well-preserved bridge, she carefully collected each landmine along the way. On the west bank, she bypassed the flooded metro and turned south. At the Citadel, formerly known as the Pentagon, she found the stronghold of the Brotherhood of Steel. No one was interested in letting her in, so she headed south and west to find the Arlington Library that Moira had mentioned to her. Entering the library, Kamada met a scribe who would buy pre-war books. To help the Brotherhood solidify their foothold in the rest of the building and find more pre-war books, she explored the library, clearing obstacles as she went. When she could find no more areas to investigate and went to turn in several pre-war books, there was no scribe in sight. Maybe it was something she had said in their earlier conversation. Again, heading west, she came across Tenpenny Tower and a man named Tinker Joe selling a Mr. Gutsy robot. The robot didn't care for her goody two-shoes reputation, so the man wouldn't sell it to her. She really wanted that bot and returned to Megaton to work out a plan to get it. Assuming any less than reputable behavior would balance her reputation somewhat, she did some random theft in and around Megaton and Arafu to lower her reputation. Although she did her thieving unobserved, she could tell that people's attitude toward her had changed. For example, there were no longer random people in Megaton insisting she take their gifts. She returned to the area between Tenpenny Tower and an old Robco factory and found Trader Joe. The robot was more amenable to their joining, and she purchased the combat robot, named Sergeant RL-3, feeling that he would provide some much-needed backup for any future travel encounters. Not feeling like heading further west, Kamada returned to Marigold Station and found one Dr. Lesko, who seemed to be responsible for the fire ants of extraordinary size. He was working on a plan to return them to their former Lilliputian stature. She took on the task to approach the queen of the ants and clear out her guardians. The sergeant proved his worth and was almost too effective and had to be told to wait in the tunnels while she cleared the last of the guardians, ensuring that the queen remained unharmed so that Dr. Lesko could finish his research. For her efforts, Dr. Lesko gave her a lab coat and a serum to provide her both the perception and the protection from fire, similar to that of the giant ants. On her way out of the tunnels, she found Brian Wilkes' neighbor, William Brandis, and a key. Returning to Brian, she noticed a lot of dead ants. Brian told her that the ants were attacking each other. She told him about meeting Dr. Lesko and finding both William Brandis and his father dead. The boy now had no one. While comforting Brian, Kamada learned that he had an aunt in Rivet City named Vera. She told Brian that she had met Vera Weatherly of the Weatherly Hotel in Rivet City, and that she would go and see if she was willing to take him in. Long story short, Vera looked forward to seeing Brian again and providing him with a place to live. When Kamada next visited Rivet City, she found that Brian was quite happy there, and especially happy to have a chance to introduce Sergeant RL-3 to Mr. Buckingham. And they all lived happily ever after. Or did they?
Or did
Well, I'm likely pushing the suggested 5-minute limit, so this concludes this chapter of Kamada's journey.
Suggested, he says.
There's a man who can respect a 5-minute limit. Thank you, Lee.
Dr. Lesko gives you... Wait, I guess it sounds like you have to play it a certain way, but you get a lab coat with, it sounds like fire prevention, fire damage resistance,
So-
I guess?
He was talking about the ant sight and ant might. That's the perk you can get, where
Oh.
you choose to either get ant sight, which helps perception of fire resistance, or ant might, which helps strength and fire resistance. And he went with, I think he went with the sight. Yes, he dropped a picture in chat as he's been doing along. By the way, I have to say, Kalmada's ensemble is something else. There's a picture. She's currently rolling in naughty nightwear and a fireman's helmet and gas mask. It's quite the look she's got going on there, Lee. Quite the look. But a normal outfit with the combat armor is a little more.
That is a little saucy, isn't it?
Very saucy.
He's
I
a
guess-
little
wait.
minx, isn't he?
It may be in the privacy of her own home, Can't tell if that's Megaton House or not, but yeah. Quite the look. I didn't ever think about this before, but there's an irony there that Brian Wilkes is going from living with the ants to living with his aunt still.
That's hilarious.
A developer had to be laughing about that. It's not just me, right?
Listen, guys, I'm clever.
No one will ever know, but yeah. Well, anyway, we noticed.
At a podcast 14 years from now, they will chuckle lightly about this.
Ever so mildly. Yeah, that sounds like some great gameplay. He got pretty far in his story, doing stuff with the Union and Billy and everything with RL, getting his assigned companion. That makes me realize I've been playing without a companion or dog meat this entire time, because I didn't get dog meat on my roll. We're not doing companions so much in the DLC. So, and it does make a difference in the play. Having dog meat can be a real advantage.
Yeah.
Also, I like the fact that she didn't give a damn about her bad reputation. And went around stealing stuff.
I was just about to ask that. Like, why did he need to get her reputation down? Just because that's his assign. He's bad
He's assigned neutral in order to get RL3. Yeah, RL3 need to be neutral in order to purchase the Rubit.
Okay.
He won't go with a goody two shoes apparently.
And so they no longer insist he takes their gifts.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
He mentioned the library, which I thought that was cool because I haven't done the library yet this time, but there are a lot of robots there too.
And Ray,
handled with a lot of them.
Ray, are you indeed related to Dr. Butcher?
I don't know yet.
He doesn't know yet. Well, the DNA test is in the mail. I think that means everyone. All right. Lee number 1. Thank you so much, Jess. Who we have up next?
I believe we've got Nana Janet on the list.
Nana, good to hear from you. Nana.
Hey, Fallout family. It's Nana here. Sending in my feedback for our Fallout 3 playthrough. As I told you before, I've been doing an achievement run here, kind of finishing up what I didn't have. I did get both level 14, neutral, and good that I needed. The neutral one was not quite so bad. The good one was a hassle. So I finished the main story, but when I went to the Jefferson Memorial, to the water purifier, father died, you go to the Citadel with the scientists. I must have killed one of them on the way because when I got there, I was evil. Hadn't gotten to level 14 yet, so I figured out how to get to neutral. That was okay. But then going from evil to good when I was like into level 13 a little ways was a little bit harder. I did figure it out. If you give scrap metal to the water treatment plant in Megaton, instead of selling it to him, it helps your karma. So
Good call.
I did that.
Good call.
I went, got all the scrap metal I could find, gave it to him, got my level up to neutral, and I was about halfway through level 13. So then I went and killed Tenpenny, and that got me to good. So I didn't know that would happen, but I had heard that if you kill Tenpenny, it gives you good karma, so I killed him. And no one even cared, which I thought was kind of interesting. I've gotten about 12 bobbleheads. Definitely got the one out of Raven Rock before I left there, because I know you can't go back. And then I started the DLC, the Alaska one. Anyway, I now remember why that is the one DLC that I don't like. So I've gotten through the first part of it where you take out the Chinese turrets, and I am now starting to take out the other 3 areas. And for some reason, I've lost my whole group of guys that are with me except for one. So I think I'm going to go back a save and start that part over and see if I can figure out what happened there. Anyway, I'm hoping to finish it soon and move on to the next one, but I'll let you know when that happens. In the meantime, I'm happy to get some more of my achievements. I'm up to 30 speech challenges. I need 50.
Oh, damn.
Sweet.
And then I have to pick up all those alien recordings when we go in there. So I will see you in the wasteland. Have a great one.
All right, so what's the exploit? What's the cheat? How does she get 20 speech checks? Like, bam, 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 bam. Where can she go that's just like a bunch of speech checks right in a row?
I don't have one. I do not have
20 speech checks. Come on.
There is no shortcut. Yeah, no talking your way out of this one. Well, literally, you're going to talk your way out of this one.
That's
yeah.
the point.
Okay, so cross that off. Point is, there's no shortcuts.
Okay, so tell me about this scrap metal.
Okay, so scrap metal, that you give to Walter in Megaton. You can sell him scrap metal for caps and XP. But if you say just take it, no charge, you get karma for that too.
Okay, right.
So it's just like donating to the church, giving water to, people who need water. That'll get you good karma as well. But the knowing that 10 penny is still good karma, even if you're not, there for that reason, that's a good one. Because I know killing slavers and raiders, you can get good karma. And when you're in your camps, you can free people, and that'll give you good karma. I find it's easier to get good karma than bad in this game. But the things that are bad are very, very bad. And I guess apparently killing, murdering people is also bad. I don't do that. So I forget.
Well, murdering certain people is bad. As we see, murdering 10 penny is a good thing.
Yeah, well, he's not people, apparently.
he's not people. And I'd have to admit, I don't remember anything about his backstory at all, and I haven't been there this time yet, so I'm like, don't know if he deserves to die or not. I just remember there's something with ghouls, I think. You let ghouls in? I don't know.
Goodness. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. I need to go
and
check
a bug.
it out.
At least, it is essentially a bug that persists to this day. We can spoil it. Most everybody listening has played.
Don't you dare spoil a 23-year-old video game.
Okay. But yeah, the way that it acts, they knew that it acted that way when it was released, but they just went with it. Like, from the stories that I remember was they tried to make it work the way it was supposed to. Things went wrong, and they just said, okay, we're going to release it like this, and just kept it. It's one of those things, kind of like Gandhi being the biggest warmonger in the Civilization games. Sometimes a bug is good. You just go with it.
So what was the bug?
With the 10 penny tower? The fact that if you let the ghouls in peacefully, get everybody to agree to have them live there, make arrangements, they move in, all that. After a day or two, when you go back, they will have killed the residents of the tower anyway. And I think our couple of listeners who hadn't played it before have done that part by now. So yeah, you can play it so you let the feral ghouls into the tower. You can play it so the ghouls never get entrance, or you can negotiate to let the intelligent ghouls live there peacefully. But
it's funny they still ate him anyway.
They looked at him funny. They had to chase some of them off.
Yeah.
They did a little more than chase them off, but
and Ray keeps mentioning a ghoul mask that you acquire that from the 10 penny quest. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I knew there was a reason to go do that. And if you go through any tunnels in this game, I remember that it's just lousy with ghouls all over the place.
Definitely
the main way to get through the city is you're forced into the subways, like most of the way through the downtown area. Right, okay. So I definitely need to go do that. Is it useful at all in any of our DLCs? Are there ghoul-laden... should I go grab it before any of thing, or do they make up new bad guys for the pit? Ooh, how are the pit bad guys? Am I gonna recognize the trucks?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yep.
And what else? What's the new one? Oh, wait, that's Atlantic
I can't
City. Never
remember.
mind.
I think there might be ghouls at Point Lookout.
Yeah, there are some, but there's also, the mutant creatures, right? All the swamp folk. So the swamp folk are the big ones, and they're separate.
Yeah. That gator dead.
But
Can't wait.
there will be, I think there are some ghouls, at least on the way to the pit, right? There's got to be some ghouls in the pit, but it's been so long. Cannot
Well,
wait
let's
to
go get into that pit. All right. Who is up next?
We have Eric coming in with feedback.
Suliore, where are
Hello,
you?
fellow Wastelanders. Eric, aka Suliore here, and just thought I'd let you know what I've been doing since last week. So, I played a little bit of Fallout 3 on stream Sunday night. Didn't really have anything going on that night, and I wasn't able to play Saturday. So, thought I'd play a little bit on Sunday. Now, I didn't really go into this stream with a plan. Do I really look like a guy with a plan? Sorry, I thought I'd throw that little reference in there. But I just figured, what the hell? Let's just see what happens. So, first thing I did was I went to the Lincoln Memorial. So, I distinctly remember going to the Lincoln Memorial the last time I played, and Lincoln's head was missing. So I thought I'd go and share that with my audience. And I remembered it being inhabited by some sort of enemy, raiders, whatever. So I head over there, and it turned out it was slavers from Paradise Falls. So I take all of these slavers out, which really wasn't that difficult, and I got a notification that I had completed a quest for the Temple of the Union. And I did encounter the Temple of the Union on another stream that I did, so I was like, oh, okay, I must have gotten a quest and didn't remember. So I head to the Temple of the Union, talk to a couple people, and they give me a quest to go to the Museum of History, which I hadn't been to yet. They wanted to rebuild the Lincoln Memorial, and they needed some sort of historical reference of what it used to look like. So I head there and clear it out, and there was a picture of the Lincoln Memorial in there, but also one of my viewers mentioned that I need to collect a Lincoln figurine while I was in there. So I was looking for that, and not only did I find that, but I also found a recording of Lincoln's real voice, quote unquote. I didn't even know, does that exist IRL? I don't know. I'd never heard of that before. That can't be real. That has to just be for the game. But regardless, after this, you take everything back to the Temple of the Union. But before I did that, the entrance to the underworld is in the Museum of History. So I wanted to check that out. I hadn't been there yet. So yeah, I explored the underworld, found Charon, did not buy his contract yet. I really just want to kill his owner and recruit him that way. But there's also another ghoul in there that gives you the quest to kill a few quote-unquote ghoul haters, which whether or not these are true ghoul haters, who knows. Also, Gob's mom, Carol, is in here. So she tells you that she wants you to tell Gob that she loves him and not to rejoin her because the wasteland is dangerous. So I went and talked to Gob, and you can't even tell him that you encountered his mom, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. So after that, I went back to the Temple of the Union, told them the Lincoln Memorial is good to go. So they all head over to the Lincoln Memorial, which is going to be what their residence is. And also you can sell the Lincoln paraphernalia to one of the guys there, both the statue and his voice. So after that, I was like, all right, I got nothing else to do. I got a little bit of time left on my stream, let's go kill the rest of the slavers. So I went to Paradise Falls
Sounds
and
like
left
fun.
it a smoking ruin and freed all the slaves, except for the one really old guy who can't apparently hear you clearly or see well. Which, why they kept him around as a slave, I have no idea, because he wouldn't really be able to help with anything. And some of those slaves include a couple of kids from Little Lamplight. So I made a trip to check out Little Lamplight, and they let you in because you rescued some of their family members. And that is where I'm at right now. So until next time, I will see you all in the wasteland.
See you in the wasteland. Lincoln's voice, Ray. What do you think?
Pretty sure no.
Pretty sure no. Jess, what do you think?
Maybe AI? No.
How would they... That's interesting. I wonder if they could somehow...
AI Lincoln from old wax recordings?
Well, the thing is, Lincoln died 12 years before the phonograph was invented.
So that's not happening.
Yeah, so there are no actual physical recordings of his voice. But there are descriptions of his voice. Could AI replicate a voice based on descriptions of a voice? Interesting. Oh.
I mean, you could really come up with whatever you wanted to, because who's around to say that wasn't so?
Exactly. It's like the dinosaurs have feathers, or were they bright pink? Who knows?
A lot of actors have played Lincoln over the years, so I think we mostly, equate them with him.
Yeah. And everybody knows dinosaurs are purple.
Yeah, like Barney, duh.
I love you. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Eric. Looking forward to your next adventures over there in the pit, sir. Let's see. We have up next Leon, right?
Yeah.
So let's go say good day to Leon. Good day, sir.
Good day, this is Leon from Texas with my feedback for Winter for the Fallout Season 3. Fallout 3 season. So, Winter has saved her father, has gone to Project Purity and gotten that started. She went to what she calls Necropolis, which is the undead city where the monsters are, in the Museum of Natural History. She had a real hard time dealing with all the monsters in there. She did find some work. Some lady in the back, Riley's Ranger. She has not done that quest yet, but she plans on it. She did get a quest called Gotta Shoot 'em in the Head. And she started doing that, but instead of actually killing the people that the monster wanted her to kill, she talked to them. And found out that they're actually not ghoul haters, although truthfully she is, so she was kind of feeling sympathetic towards them. She managed to convince all of them to give her a key. Side note, Dukov, I think his name is, one of his companions, Cherry, you can actually talk to her and convince her to let you escort her to Rivet City. It's not a quest per se. You don't get any experience for it or anything, but you actually can just, walk out of his house and then fast travel to Rivet City and she's there. And then she changes her outfit into kind of, rags and stuff and just lives in Rivet City. You can talk to her, but all she says is, "Oh, great, you must think you're my hero," that kind of thing. So I wonder if maybe there's some cut content there. Maybe she was intended as a possible companion, or I don't know. It was weird. I don't remember ever actually doing that before. I just kind of was talking to her, and it kind of popped up, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, let's see what happens." But no experience or anything. So when I got back to Necropolis, or the museum, I did go in and, Tenpenny had offered me to kill the ghoul, so, I did that. And, well, before I did that, let me back up a step, because we did have a little incident that I believe I mentioned on the Facebook group. So before I did that, I did talk to the bartender in the nice circle, and he wanted me to kill one of the other ghouls in there. So I snuck over there at night, and I put a grenade in her outfit, and then stepped back, and then she went boom, right next to her adopted ghoul mama, who got all sad and all that, but oh well. So then I went back over there and got the contract for Charon, which I didn't really want. I would have rather just had Caps. But, hey, whatever. I told him, I let him kill the bartender, and then I told him he's fired, so he stayed there. But before I told him he was fired, I went to turn in the quest where they got to shoot him in the head. And during the process, my flaming shish kebab accidentally happened to, hit some other NPCs, and next thing you know, every ghoul in the ninth circle, except Charon, was dead. Not my fault. It was a shish kebab. Nobody saw me. So I thought, oh, well, when I step out, I may have to, fight everybody, which, okay, not a big deal. I hate to kill, have to, kill the doctor with Riley and all that, but oh well. But when I stepped out, everybody's like, nobody said anything. So I'm like, I'm just going to leave this city and never come on back unless I need to talk to Riley. So, all the monsters in the ninth circle are dead. Now we're going to get into the feedback for Operation Anchorage, and I'm having some issue. I had a similar issue when I was doing No Vegas, and when I got a little bit into Big MT, and then the game just kept crashing for some reason. And so I'm not able to get into Operation Anchorage. I'm not sure what's going on. The Xbox is saying something about video memory out or something like that. And I'll unload it or I'll turn it off, restart it, go back in, and it does it again. I don't know about any of the other DLCs. I'll have to kind of see. But as of right now, it looks like I'm not going to be able to do anything for Operation Anchorage. So this, unfortunately, might be the end of Winter's Adventures in the Wasteland. Finishing off Project Purity and that, and I'm at the point with Liberty Prime is fixing to do that mission. But if so, then it's been fun, and if not, I'm gonna try the next DLC and see what happens. But if you don't hear from me again, then unfortunately, it seems like maybe I got a bad copy. I don't know. I've got the Game of the Year edition. I know I've got all the DLC. I've done them before. I don't know. Glitch. I am playing on the Xbox. No mods or anything like that, so nothing to fix or anything like that there. So anyways, I'll see y'all in the Wasteland. Hopefully.
These sounds... Oh, golly. Let's see. I'm trying to think what version I'm playing, but I think I just downloaded mine from the Xbox store directly. I'm playing digital. I don't have a disc or anything. How are you playing, Jess? Do you have a backwards compatible disc, or did you download? Are you playing digital or what?
I'm just playing digitally. I owned all the DLC, of course. I didn't buy Game of the Year edition on Xbox because I already had it. So originally I had played off the disc, of course, bought the DLC digitally, and then now I just, download it from Game Pass because I get everything from Game Pass and it works just the same.
Game Pass, right. Oh, so like I don't have.
He activated the DLC on the front page, like because you do have to do that. But if you're playing on Xbox, it should just check for everything installed automatically. I do think even on Game of the Year they may need installed separately, but I mean he's checking all that. He mentions Cherry, and yeah, I've escorted her back a couple of times. I don't think it's a cut quest. It is intended that. If you take care of Dukov, you can bring her back to Rivet City because she mentions that she wants to go to Rivet City. You can escort her there, and she will follow fast traveling. And yeah, she's thankful, and she'll wander around Rivet City in her naughty nightwear for a while, but eventually she puts on her a slightly more acceptable outfit and just lives there.
Well, good.
Got to shoot him in the head. Great quest. I'm sorry things went so bad for River at Necropolis, as she called it.
Well, if
Did I say River, I meant Winter.
If it turns out the character or the file for some reason with this character only is corrupted, then you'd try a new character, see if they can get into the pit with a fresh character. Are there base level recommendations for DLCs going forward? Did you make the schedule in this order for a specific reason because
Yes.
of level requirements?
I mean, like I said, with suggested level, Operation Anchorage is easy to do first. I said 10, but obviously you can do it lower, and you benefit from it, like Ray was saying. Point Lookout is probably the hardest, so that's why it's last. And then Pit and Mothership Zeta, they're kind of in the middle. So I think everyone's going to be good enough level to tackle any of the DLC at this point.
All right. Well, good luck, Leon. If you don't figure out with this character, join with a different one, man. Love to keep hearing from you. Hopefully that DLC will load.
I am curious what happened with Winter in Underworld, but everybody going hostile.
She calls Necropolis, evidently. All right. Vanessa is up next. Hello, Vanessa.
Hi, Fallout Feed. This is Vanessa with my feedback on Operation Anchorage. I thought rather than talk about the missions, as it's all quite linear, I'd just throw out some random observations and ramblings about DLC. So I enjoyed the fact that it gives you different weapons to try out. I intended, when I picked up the Gauss rifle, as I'm supposed to be, energy weapons as is one of my assigned skills, I intended to use that until I found out that I just could not aim with it to save my life. So I ended up just using the normal sniper rifle. I went through sort of in a kind of stealthy way, I suppose, rather than an all guns blazing way. And that worked out well. Enjoyed the first level, especially where you've got all the catwalks and the cliffs and lots of opportunities to pick people off from a distance. Also made more use of explosives than I normally would have. I guess you get quite a generous amount of them when you get to the refill stations. And I've been struggling. I struggled quite a bit. I died several times towards the end of the listening post mission. I think I must have missed a health station and an ammo station because I just got was on death's doorstep with only the 10mm pistol to use when I got up to the final room where you've got 3 stealth soldiers. So after several deaths, I ended up just chucking grenades in to try and bring them out of stealth so I could then run away down the corridor and let Sergeant Montgomery take care of them for me. So that resulted in the happy discovery for me that you could actually use explosives with VATS, which I had no idea you could do that. Obviously, I'm sure everyone else knew, but I didn't. So, made much more use of that since then. I did try the glitch with the dead Gary 23. I wanted to get the winterized combat armor just really for cosmetic reasons, so I told myself I wasn't cheating because the stats were actually worse than the armor I had, which was the Ranger armor. But having got it out of the game, I realised that it doesn't deteriorate, so I guess that did feel a bit cheaty, so I've not used that, unfortunately, but I have used the helmet, just because, again, cosmetics. It's got the sort of the face covering and the goggles that make it look quite covert, got quite a cool look to it, so I've been using that, but I've had to go back to the Ranger armour and just amble through the wasteland looking like a Ninja Turtle. Another bit of the DLC that I struggled with a little bit was the final battle with General Jingwei. So actually, again, I was trying to do it with the sniper rifle, and I think it's just such a slow weapon to aim whilst you're running away. But when I reloaded to try again, intending to try with the pistol, I took the speech check option, and even though my speech is only about level 20, I passed the speech check and he just killed himself, so that seemed like a little bit of an anticlimax. I went with it because I thought if I didn't and I die 10 more times, I'll regret it. Another nice little touch I thought early on, you find the holotapes of the soldier that's sending messages back to his mum and sort of getting increasingly scared of the battle that's coming his way, so that's quite a nice little touch. The Brotherhood outcasts, what a bunch of arseholes. I was intending, after the main DLC was over, to go and take my revenge on Defender Sibley and Scribe Olin. Obviously Sibley gets killed in the mutiny that happens, and I think Olin died in the sort of general fracas as well, so I wasn't able to do that, but yeah, I can see why people like the Brotherhood so much after Fallout 3, because the alternative is a lot worse. Couple of things outside of the DLC. I've been sort of focusing a little bit more on the main quest now, so I've picked up my second assigned follower. The first one was Dogmeat. I've picked up Star Paladin Cross now. And wow, that woman hates stealth. We crouch down, creeping along, and she's shooting stuff before I even see it on the little compass. So I think with her and dog meat as well, I barely have to do anything. I think it's a bit much. I'm probably going to have to drop one of them. I've also taken 2 of my 3 assigned perks now, fast metabolism and chemist. And I'm sort of properly invested now in energy weapons. I had started the game with a mix of small guns and melee, but since getting the plasma rifle from the Replicated Man quest, that's just amazing. It's melting through things. So
Yes,
I've got my
that's the
energy
one I like.
weapons skill up into the 90s now, and my other assigned skills, medicine and repair, I think they're also about 90. What else? Oh, one odd thing I had, again picking up the main quest, I fast travelled to Rivet City just to walk down the road to get to the Jefferson Memorial, and just as I sort of appeared at Rivet City, Lucky Harith's Brahmin was running down the road with a super mutant in tow. It went past the encampment and more mutants joined in the chase. Then it went past the Jefferson Memorial and even more mutants, so this poor Brahmin ended up running down the road with like 6 or 7 super mutants following it, and they chased it for a long way. I managed to track them down, catch up with them and kill them in the end, because I was hoping that Harith was still alive somewhere, because I need to buy a schematic from him, and obviously I hope he's still alive for his own sake. And that's it. So I'm up to going out to Vault 87 now. I was hoping to get the main quest sort of wrapped up before the next DLC. I don't think I'll have time, but yeah. So enjoyed Operation Anchorage, still enjoying the game. Thanks for listening. Bye.
She interrupted Meat Week so rudely.
Amazingly so, during her own feedback, too. No, she's heading up to Vault 87 now and hoping to get to, finishing the story before next DLC. Obviously, depending on time, but there's enough time in the schedule, at least, for sure, to get it done, because there's only a couple of quests making it through there, getting to the end. That was some astute observations about Operation Anchorage. I did enjoy those holotapes. Also, being able to talk Jingwei with just speech skill of 20, being able to talk him into offing himself, well done. Very well played. Brotherhood outcasts, they are assholes. They are.
You should just kill yourself, man. That's pretty amazing. You can talk someone into that. You sounded pretty psyched about the plasma rifle from the Replicated Man quest.
So we were talking energy weapons earlier, and I'm talking about how excited I am to have the gas rifle because I haven't used it in forever. But the energy weapon that I do usually love is A321's plasma rifle, the one you get from Harkness in the Replicated Man if you help him in that quest, if you take his side. Or you do the double dipping like Ray does, but that's a whole nother way of doing it. And so that's a great weapon. It does melt things. Plasma is beautiful, but it also uses microfusion cells, so I gotta diversify this time.
And explosives and fats. I didn't know either.
Yeah,
I think it came up last week or a couple weeks ago. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than trying to throw.
It's a wild gambit trying to get into the ballpark, just throwing by eyeball in this in Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. They nailed it, fine tuned it a lot more in 4. That's for sure. All right. Thank you, Vanessa. Let's keep on moseying down that trail and see who we got next. We got Matt calling Horizons. Matt. What's going on?
Hey, Fallout feed. This is Matt again, Calm Horizons on the Discord, and with me again I have Nikki. Say hi, Nikki.
Hello.
And all right, we're going to talk about Sterling and his adventure through Alaska. So skipping ahead. Get into the simulator, and Benjamin Montgomery's there, and he says, hey, we got to go blow up these guns. And so I think, great. And I immediately go the wrong way down the mountain path and very nearly fall off and die. So great start, but I like managed to jump back up to the path, and now Benjamin Montgomery is like free climbing the cliff face. And okay, I guess I'm on my own, but all right, fine. Get through all that, get to the guns, and plant my first bomb at the gun. And it says, you get 20 seconds to get enough distance away. And so I plant the bomb, and I figure surely the next gun will be far enough away. And so I'm headed toward the next gun. There's this path you got to go, and it switches back and climbing up a hill. And the other soldiers at the other gun have seen me. And so they're kind of all standing up at the top of the hill, shooting down at me. I've got my trench knife, and I'm charging at them. And then the bomb explodes and kills all of them at the top of the hill, very nearly kills me, breaks my arm and my leg, but doesn't kill me. And now all the soldiers are dead. So I just walk up to the next gun, and there's a health pack there. So everything's fine, and get through all of those. And then get to the next base, and I choose the heavy weapon loadout because I have big guns. That's my skill. And all it gives me is a 10mm submachine gun and a missile launcher. And I'm terrible with small guns. So not thrilled about my weapon choices, but whatever. And get all the way through to the fuel depot, and then I was glad that I had my missile launcher to deal with the Chimera tank, so that was helpful. But get through that, come back to the base, and I swapped out my loadout, and I took the one that's got the trench knife and the grenades, because at least I can use those. And so now I head to the listening post, and God, getting to the listening post was just absolute murder. My squad died over and over again. And what am I supposed to do about it? I can't shoot them, and I can't throw my grenades. It was
Don't
awful,
shoot your
but
squad.
whatever. Made it through. So now it's time to go shut off the pulse field. Great. So we go through the trenches, we get to the pulse field, and turn off the pulse field, and now we're heading to the base, and I see all the power armor guys are all charging up to the front gate, and I'm headed up there too. There's a big wall, and there's two big giant looking turrets. They look really intimidating, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about those. I think I threw a grenade at one, and it did nothing to it. So I wasn't, what am I supposed to do here? So I think, maybe I'm supposed to go around the corner, maybe there's a side entrance or something. So walk up to the gate, and this is when all of those power armor troops launch their mini nukes and just absolutely obliterate me. And so reload and shut off the pulse field again. And then as I'm charging to the base, all those power armor guys immediately launch their nukes and destroy the front gate before I even get there. What an impressive sight, and would have been nice to have them do that the first time, but whatever. So yeah, it is a Bethesda game. Go inside the front gate, and now General Jingwei is there, and I look at my speech chance, and it's 22% chance to succeed to talk him down. I don't even bother. And so I just say, hey, you've clearly lost, give up. And, no, I'll kill you, or whatever. So he comes charging at me. I've got my trench knife, and I queue up VATS. I've got my 4 hits I can do in VATS, and it's not going to do all that much to him. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen after this VATS round is over, but oh well. And so I start doing it, and then the mysterious stranger shows up.
I knew it!
And I've never taken the mysterious stranger skill before, so this is a first for me, but I got assigned randomly a high luck character. I figured, if I'm supposed to be in VATS a lot, let's give this a try. I think it was worth it. So get through that, come out, and it's time to go open up the arsenal. And, walk in there, open up the arsenal, and then, people are grousing behind me, and I see what direction this is going. And so I just dash into the arsenal and immediately throw that power armor suit on. And they start, everybody starts shooting everybody. And I've got my shish kebab now. They weren't happy with me taking all the guns. They wanted it all for themselves. They're here to get the arsenal, and they're going to let me take stuff. So they fight, they kill each other. I finish killing the rest of them, so I'm the last one alive. And, that's it. End of the DLC, and I got all the stuff, and it was great. This was a really neat change of pace. It felt to me like Call of Duty Fallout. It just played a lot different from the rest of the way the rest of the game plays, and it was a fun diversion. And I'm really looking forward to heading into the pit next week. So see you later. Say bye, Nikki.
Bye.
Why did they jump us again at the end there at the armory? I forget.
It was a mutiny. It was a mutiny. They didn't like They did not like us being given, our pick of the goods inside. We got the vault open, sure, but at most we should have one item or nothing, according to the Brotherhood precepts. I mean, the entire reason they're outcasts is because they felt like the Brotherhood wasn't adhering strongly enough to the, preserve technology and keep it out of the hands of the common people who may misuse and abuse it. So to have, was it Protector? I'm suddenly forgetting ranks, but to have him allow us to do that did not sit well.
They just didn't want us walking out with their tech then, right?
Yep, exactly.
I get it. Falling off a mountain path, I did a couple of test dives myself just to see what would happen there. There's some cliffs, shall we say, at Operation Anchorage. I also chose the big weapons loadout, and was also disappointed by only getting a missile launcher and a submachine gun. I was like, where's my, I don't know, minigun, or I don't know what I was expecting.
Everything is small guns in
Flamer.
Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Everything is small guns, no matter what you want.
No
Except for,
matter what
missile
type.
launchers.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Matt and Nikki, for...
I also liked the mysterious stranger showing up.
Oh, that's beautiful, right?
The opportune time.
Right there, right when you need him.
He's there for you. It's well worth taking the perk if you use that much.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks so much, Matt and Nikki, for checking in with us. And you're right. It is a Bethesda game. So I had a similar issue approaching that gate where I couldn't open it, and I couldn't figure out how to open it. I didn't know what was going on. And eventually they they opened it with their mini nukes.
If it makes anyone feel better, I'm having bugs in Baldur's Gate too. I know it got a pass for a lot of reasons, but people often mention that it seems like other companies' games get more of a pass than Bethesda's games. And obviously a lot of us fans, consider a lot of the bugs in Bethesda games to be kind of quirky and fun anyway. Half of the amusement from the game comes from some of the things that can happen. But yeah, I had walls spawn in the way in Baldur's Gate. I lost all my clothing last night and not for the aforementioned reasons of companions, but it just
or too much mead.
Yeah, too much mead. Exactly. It put the camera basically through a wall, and all my clothing spared. I'm like, well, that's inappropriate. So yeah, bugs happen.
Bugs happen, she says. I play Bethesda games. I have no idea what you're talking about. Bugs happen. They function perfectly.
Yeah, and I'm glad some people realize
Game
you
works
talk
good.
to the sergeant with you, and you can order replacements. So if you're going through and you're losing troops, trying to get the listening post or trying to get wherever, you talk to your buddy, the sergeant, and you can order replacements. Benjamin Montgomery, that's his name.
I didn't ever know what those people were supposed to be doing.
Well, they get lost. It's Nana mentioned it, that they kept disappearing on her. That's just, I can have 3 people outside. I go through a door, now I've got 2. Where did he disappear? Into the, upside down? What just happened?
And there were a couple of times where the sergeant dude needed to be spoken to in order to progress the quest check, but he doesn't approach you. In Fallout 4 they would come up to you to speak to you to progress the quest check, but in Fallout 3 it doesn't have that written into his script to come up to you. So I'm just kind of walking around being like, what is happening? What's going on? I'm the quest marker's
which of
over
these
here.
guys do I talk to?
So eventually I talked to him, and then I found out, okay, then you need to check option 3, and then okay, now that progresses the quest. But yeah, there were a few times
And
there where
a lot of the modern games you can have your quest show, which can be a pain having too many quests showing on your screen.
yeah,
But yeah, that's not really an option here. You actually have to open up and look in your log.
yep, absolutely. All right. Thank you, folks. Up next, who we got there, Jess?
Okay, next up we have Dawn.
All right, Dawn, what's up?
Hey, it's Sassy Lady. I'm coming with my feedback for the Anchorage DLC, but before that, I have to go into what happened to my character. So I'm not going to go into everything that I was doing, but I did pick up a quest in the underworld where I was supposed to either kill or convince different characters to give up keys for another character in the underworld. I guess it had something to do with a pre-war heist or some such. So he gave me a list of like 4 names. I talked to them. One character I did kill. 2 characters I was able to convince that it would be better off if they just let me tell him they were dead, and then they would give me the keys and they would probably be left in peace. And of course, Tenpenny was one of them, and he counteracted the offer of to let me kill him, and he would pay me more. So of course I couldn't get his key. When I went back to the underworld to let this gentleman know how I had progressed and was like, well, here I have these 3, but Tenpenny wasn't cooperative. He got pretty angry, pulled a gun on me, and started shooting. And so since he was shooting at me, of course I shot back, which made pretty much the entirety of Underworld hostile to me. So my poor little character, who was supposed to remain neutral, ended up wiping out basically all of Underworld, which pretty much tanked my karma. So that happened. That was not fun. As we came to the end of Project Purity, not the end of Project Purity, but the end of the part that my father plays in the role before the Enclave comes and gets you, basically that point. So the Enclave catches up to everybody at Project Purity when we're trying to restart the purification system, getting all that restarted. And Penelope's father ends up killing himself to basically tank the whole thing so that the Enclave can't have that technology or the purifier. And Penelope's thinking, oh my gosh, I just lost my father. And then they're running for their lives through the tunnels. Well, I had Dogmeat at that point, and I had my home at Megaton, but I always leave Dogmeat in the apartment or whatever at Megaton because I don't have the puppies perk yet. You don't get that till like level 22, and I tend to be really coddling of Dogmeat until then, and I don't bring him out with me until I know I can replace him, basically. Get unhealthy attachment to a digital dog. So I had him at home. He was not supposed to be with us, but as we're running through the tunnels, Dogmeat just randomly shows up. And I'm like, hey, buddy, go home. And he kind of ignored me. And we were going through the tunnels, and he's taking out ghouls, and he's growling, and he's being like super aggressive. And I'm like, wow. Well, when all the ghouls are dead, he's still growling and hyper aggressive, and he ends up taking out one of the scientists. And I'm like, whoa, this isn't cool. Are they going to get hostile now? I mean, I feel this is like a trend. Well, we end up getting near the end. So, of course, we get out before he has a chance to cause any more trouble. And as we get out of the Citadel, he doesn't go in the Citadel with me, and he doesn't stay outside at the tunnel. So I'm thinking, all right, he's going to leave. He's going to go back. That's great. But he's not acting like himself. So I don't know. I go through everything. When we're done at the Citadel, I go back to Vault 101, which is where he should be, and he's not there. And I go back to my house, and he's not there. I even went back to the junkyard, and he wasn't there. So I'm thinking, wow, I lost my dad and my dog in one day. So my character's feeling pretty down. So I go ahead and I start going and looking for these outcasts. I listen to their broadcast. I go find them to see if I can aid them and assist them. Well, they put me in this simulator, and they send me to Anchorage and have me go through a simulation of what the war was like, which wasn't too bad. I remember the first time I went through this, I was actually really intimidated by it because, of course, you go into this thing with no chems, no healing at all. All you get is the gun that they give you and a knife and a stealth boy. And that's it. Like, they give you nothing. Like, you don't have any of your normal, armor or anything. And so I go through this whole thing, and I remember that, there's these little health dispensers everywhere and ammo dispensers. So I'm like, okay, I can make it through these. And they seem to be like pretty close together as you're going through the mountains, and everything was pretty good as you go through. Like, they don't overwhelm you too much. You get one or two guys until you get to the guns, when you are trying to destroy the guns and take those down. It gets a little heavier. And I was always trying to, top off my health and top off my ammo when I could, just in case, because I couldn't remember what was coming ahead. But it's a good quest. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed taking out the listening post wasn't too bad. The minefield was pretty good. That's the one where you have to run through the little dugouts and stuff. I think it was the listening post. I did have some trouble at the very end. They didn't have the health dispensers as close together as they did on the mountainside. They seem to be farther apart. And I remember the very last room, I'm on like one bar, one health bar, and I see a dispenser in the middle of the room, and I'm like, okay, cool, we got this. And it's me and Montgomery, the guy they run you with. I take out the last stealth guy that's there, and I'm like, cool, and I go running into the room to the health dispenser, and I die. And I'm like, of course, there's another one. Okay, cool. So I respawn, and I take out the last one, and then I take out the next one, and I'm like, okay, great. Go run in there on my 1 bar of health to get the health dispenser, and boom. But wait, there's more. I die. So I figure out, like, I forget how many times it took me to die and figure out that I just cannot do this on 1 bar of health and take out 3 of these Chinese stealth guys, because Montgomery just stands there and looks at me the whole time. He's not helping. So I finally just break down, and I go backwards to the last health dispenser, top off, run back, take out the 3 guys, move forward. It's fine. The arc field or whatever was pretty cool. That was no big thing. I just go in there, shut it off. I was actually like, oh, that's all I have to do. That was pretty easy. I don't remember it being that easy, but I'm sure it was. And then I go in to take out the general, because the general is the big baddie in this. And he's coming for me specifically. And I don't know if I maybe got a little friendly fire and teed off one of my, fellow American power armor guys or something. I'm pretty sure the dude was shooting me while I was being electrocuted by the general, because I was losing health like way more than I should have, and just died. And it felt like I was getting it from 2 sides. I'm pretty sure somebody else was involved in that point. And I kept checking the other Chinese soldiers, and they were not hostile. So I don't know. It had to have been one of my guys, because I could see 2 red lines on the compass, and I didn't know who it was. So I respawn, and this time I got stuck, somewhere, and I couldn't run away, because my tactic was to keep running away from this guy. But I kind of got myself in a corner, and the guy got me. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. 3rd time was the charm. I got him. He died. But every time that I would respawn, I would just spawn at the door, and we would just stand there and stare at each other. He wouldn't start talking to me. And so I would have to reload a save so that I could go in, and then he would talk to me so that we could proceed. Otherwise, they would just be fighting each other around us, and we would just stand there and stare at each other's big stare down. It was wild. But that was pretty fun. And then I came out of that simulation, and the outcasts were like, cool, this is great. Now go unlock the armory, and we'll split our findings with you. And I'm like, cool. And I did that and I went in and I'm like, all I really wanted was the T-51 power armor. I wanted the Chinese stealth suit. I wanted some chems, some ammo maybe, and, another Chinese assault rifle, because I'm not doing big guns. And that's basically everything in there was heavy, and that's not my build. And I was like, you guys can keep this. Well, it seemed like every time I would pick something up, I would pick a few things up. And then like when I picked up the last thing, I would hear the poor, I forget what they called her, but she's basically the scribe. And but I would hear her say, "There's outcast on me." And I'm like, what? They would attack us. Every time I did this 3 or 4 times, every time they would attack us. And I realized I was just standing there in this stupid neuro suit. So basically had 0 armor or anything.
Yes.
It took me like twice to realize I don't have any armor. No wonder I'm dying. And I'm, had to keep redoing this. So these guys, like, I don't know what was happening. Maybe it's because my charisma was tanked. I don't know, but not my charisma, my karma. Maybe they knew I was evil. I don't know, but they would turn on us. Her too. That was what got me. It was their own scribe. They would turn on us every single time. So finally I ended up just killing everybody. They ended up killing her. Poor thing. And so I was mad and I just said, fine, I'm taking all your crap, every single bit of it. And I sold it off for profit. And that was that. So my karma is now complete garbage because I have now wiped out 2 groups of people in the wasteland. And yeah, that's me. Harbinger of War, I believe, is where I'm at right now. So I'm going to spend the next week doing whatever I can, trying to bring up my karma. I've been donating to the church. I've been giving water to the little guys sitting outside the settlements, except for the one outside Megaton because he already died. Bless his soul. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Oh, I do have a bit of good news. For some reason, I just said, what the heck, I'll swing by Vault 101 on the way home after my last trip from the Outcast bunker, taking all their crap and selling it. And dog meat was there. So I got my dog back and I'm pretty happy about that. So I have lots of money and I outfitted my apartment into all kinds of lovely pre-war goods. And dog meat and I are just chilling there right now until I figure out how to fix the karma. So that's it for me this week. And I will talk to y'all next time.
The puppy came home. Yay!
Yay. Yeah, I wrote down weird meat. Like, what was going on with weird meat? Like, rush it in, being all aggressive, running ahead, attacking everybody. I wonder what caused that. I don't know if she's playing with any mods or not. She might be. Because she's playing on PC, I'm pretty sure. Do you remember if she said? Don't know, but I'm glad you got your puppy back. That's the perfect ending. Also, I knew you'd gotten up stuff with karma, but you actually shouldn't lose karma for attacking the outcast once they attack you. I think one thing we've learned on this from our experience, but also hearing other people's feedback, seeing in Discord, a lot of people felt that it was a bug or something was going wrong and they were being attacked and reloading, like Dawn did, like Eric did, like a bunch of people did, because they do not telegraph it well enough. The whole mutiny thing, if you stop and listen to the conversation, I mean, you'll hear it. But you know the time that I listen the least in game?
When I'm looting.
When you're looking at an entire room full of loot.
I'm like, wow, look at this
everything
giant
else.
flamer, dude.
Yeah, you're in there, you're doing maths, and you're like, how much can I take? And, trying to figure it out. And meanwhile, they're having a whole convo. So they really should change that.
Dawn
people who
mentioned-
have...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, people who mentioned that it hadn't happened to them before, maybe Defender Sibley was dead, because he's the guy that leads the mutiny. They get to McGraw's face and has the argument, and then they all start attacking.
Oh.
If he's dead, or if he's glitched or stuck somewhere, it won't start. He has to be there for it to start.
Ooh. Seems like no matter what assignment people had for karma, people struggle to achieve their karma. You know what I mean? It's like,
no matter what side of the fence you're trying to be on.
yeah. It's like Nana was talking about how she had to regulate her karma, and just like Dawn was talking about how it's like I know. Doesn't matter which karma assignment you got, it's a struggle bus. Struggle bus.
I don't know. I haven't had any problem at all.
Well, you lean into evil a little bit better than most people do, Ray.
Wait a minute.
Wait, what? Are you a good guy?
Very good.
Why did I assume?
Not just good. I am very good.
Very good.
A good cannibal?
I could probably blow up Megaton and still be in the good.
You're not that.
My good is so high.
You have
Nobody's
sold that much water, or given that much water to that poor man out front.
Yeah, I'll have to do a console command and find out what my what my karma is at. But it's at least 1,000 positive because it couldn't get any higher.
Nice.
And it certainly helped too when I went through recently and killed all the slavers, because that gave me a nice boost.
Oh, big time. Almost makes up for blowing up Megaton. If you did.
I didn't.
Right.
Yeah, it turns out slavery is a pretty unpopular thing.
Kill Moira and everybody in Megaton either, did you?
No, I did not. I could never do anything like that.
Guys, I was thinking how ironic it is that in my playthrough especially that Moira's book is called the Survival Guide.
And yet she didn't.
'Cause she ain't.
She ain't, but you are. I mean, you should get soul writing credit at that point.
Oh yeah, well, that should be the quest. I go to look for some pawn to scrap my crappy chores off onto. Like here, go do stuff for me in the name of education or something.
But that was some fun feedback. I'm glad everybody is getting into Operation Anchorage, and
yes,
after been a long while. I mean, for most of us, it's been a while since we played Fallout 3, let alone the DLC.
It is just so different. You know what I mean? Like someone mentioned that it was like a Call of Duty-esque a little bit, and it's just it is a lot different than our normal Fallout playstyle.
Yeah, it feels very different. I like that. I like that. I mean,
the health dispensers and stuff.
Yeah, it's a neat system, but I also just like the variation. When you think about it, Bethesda hadn't done shooters before either. I mean, well, not in like forever, unless you count, bow and arrow stealth archer in Oblivion, or using fireballs.
Didn't they do like Wolfenstein or something?
That was not them. That's the thing. They're under the big Bethesda umbrella, but Bethesda Game Studios, didn't do it. So yeah.
All right. Did I have anything else? Oh, the restock ammo. Ray, did you? What was your thing again, real quick? If you have like a 20-second elevator pitch on your restock ammo thing.
So you restock your ammo and then you drop it all, and then stock and drop it all. Restock, drop it all. Keep that up until you've got however many thousands of rounds you want to have in your inventory.
And you can take that with you out if you
with Gary
dump it into Gary's butt.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Dawn, for the feedback there. Let's see, who do we have up next? Jess, I think we probably are getting... Yeah, we've got about 3 left here, it looks.
We have Lee Part 2. Operation Anchorage.
Lee Part 2.
Greetings, Fallout family. This is Lee Benjamin in Fallout 3, presenting Come Out of the Brute's Journey. Kamada is currently level 15. Kamada and Sergeant RL3 continue to search the wastes in the south and west of Megaton. Found a place called Fort Independence that is now occupied by a splinter group from the Brotherhood of Steel. They disapproved of Elder Lyon's abandoning his mission of securing and protecting pre-war technologies so that they could not be misused by those left in the wasteland. That was the original mission that sent them to the East Coast from their point of origin in Southern California. Instead, Elder Lyons had started working with the locals and helping them with their troubles. This is not the Brotherhood way. Stating this got them outcast from the Brotherhood, and they proudly took that as their new name. Their leader, Henry Kasdan, told Kamada that he would trade 5.56 ammo, hand grenades, and Rad-X for pre-war technology like laser weapons, sensor modules, and scrap metal. So, not all forms of aid to the locals were verboten. They just wanted help in collecting technology. Kamada headed west and overtook an outcast patrol. She stopped to deal with a local trader, and when the patrol caught up and passed, they disturbed 2 Yaguai. They took them out together, but the squad didn't fare well, as 2 of them were killed by the mutated bears. Kamada gathered their equipment and managed to make some repairs to the power armor and laser rifles she'd collected. She then returned to Fort Independence to trade with Protector Kasdan. He traded for the laser rifles because their origin was not known. The outcast power armor was a different matter. He just took it and didn't even appreciate the quality repairs that she'd made. Well, the next set she gets, she'll try to sell to the Brotherhood of Steel. Visited Moira and found out that the last chapter of the Wasteland Survival Guide only had 1 task to complete it. Kamada took some kind of intrusion module to the Robco factory and connected it to the mainframe, hoping to control the robots. Unfortunately, all the robots activated and were instantly hostile. Kamada brought the junk jet to bear and was surprised at how well it worked. Returning to Moira, she reported another abject failure, but Moira just smiled and indicated that sometimes a negative result was just as useful as a positive one. With that, she quickly finished the chapter and gave Kamada the first freshly printed copy. Further, she indicated that she would distribute the rest of the run to local traders because you wouldn't want to have to take on such a dangerous task. Kamada nearly did another field test with the junk jet, but somehow managed to restrain herself. While looking for some music on her Pip-Boy, Kamada noticed that there was an outcast distress signal and listened to the message. After much searching, she and RL3 found a group of outcasts that were fighting super mutants. Once the super mutants had been dealt with, they told her that their leader, Defender Morrell, would like to thank her and unsurprisingly required her services. They had found a building and documents that indicated there was a large stash of weapons inside. To get to them, they needed the services of her and her Pip-Boy to run a simulation of the Battle of Anchorage, and Morrell was willing to share the stash with her. She agreed, and they put her in a specialized coverall that interfaced between the simulation pod and her Pip-Boy. The simulation started like all the simulations that she'd seen in the training room at Vault 101, with a title, Operation Anchorage. The technician told her that for some reason, the body that was still in the pod had to remain there. She didn't understand the reasons given, some gobbledygook about how in an earlier test gone wrong, he had been fused with the frame of the seat and could not be entirely extracted. They didn't know his real name, so they just called him Gary. Needless to say, the simulation was long and complex, and during it, she was given command of a squad. She chose a heavy weapons loadout for herself and selected the rest of her squad from those available. At the end of the simulation, she had to deal with a Chinese general. Her 10mm submachine gun didn't seem to faze him much, and she only had so many missiles. But she found that he would pursue her relentlessly and finally succumbed to the landmines she had placed in his path. Upon exiting the simulation, she went to the armory and unlocked it with the keyword supplied by the Pip-Boy for finishing the course. At this point, Defender Sibley and 3 of the outcasts objected to Protector Quickdraw McGraw sharing the loot with a Wastelander. In the ensuing battle, the junk jet again showed its worth. Unfortunately, Quickdraw wasn't fast enough and was killed by the outcast rebels. The remaining technician had agreed with McGraw and knew better than to oppose Kamada looting most of the items in the armory. Kamada returned to Megaton and sold most of the spoils of her journey. She did keep the sensor suit, plasma rifle, and the winterized T-51B power armor. This concludes this chapter of Kamada the Brute's journey.
Lee, part 2. Thank you, Lee. I like you get some Yaogua in there. You get a little junk jet in there.
A lot of junk jet.
Well, he held a little restraint there on some junk jet there.
Well, Moira always looking out for you. Good for her. Just trying to make the wasteland a safer place for everybody.
You guys are just hypnotized by this Moira person. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's hilarious.
Be done with it.
How people feel about her. Obviously I like her. A lot of us do. But from a certain perspective, from a certain point of view, she may not really care as much about safety as she professes. And she may be a little bit sadistic. From a very, obscure, hard to see kind of point of view.
I think landmines are a great way to go with that general guy, because I just was running backwards in a circle shooting with my my rifle or whatever. It's
you could totally toss the mines as well, running backwards. That's a good thought.
Yeah, good job with that, Lee.
And we get enough of them.
Yeah, they toss you plenty, that's for sure.
Also, that power armor is pretty sweet. I have to say that is significantly better looking than the rest of the power armor in the game. Don't you think?
What, the bluish one or whatever?
Yeah, well, just
the winterized.
The whole feel of the T-51B winterized. I like the look. It has the look even more than the Brotherhood of the Outcast for sure.
So we get T-51B. What is the top level model of power armor that you see in Fallout 3?
In Fallout 3 power armor, this would be technically, right?
51?
Isn't
that intro level for 4?
No, that's the T-45.
45, right. I forgot about the 45.
Yeah, so I'm thinking in Fallout 3 what all there is.
Enclave, the Hellfire.
Does XO1 exist in 3 or New Vegas?
No.
No, I don't believe so.
New Vegas doesn't even have power armor, does it?
New Vegas? No.
It doesn't really have it, right?
Well, the Brotherhood there has some.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got, the Outcast power armor has its own style. T-51B has its own style. But overall, the Brotherhood power armor they have, is it T-60 that the default Brotherhood wears?
In this game, they wear the T-60?
No, I don't think so. No, I'm just trying to remember if they even name the model there in this game, like they should.
Yeah, no, because there is the so we will get a set in the pit called Tribal Power Armor.
Okay, yep. And the Brotherhood's just in straight. It's T-45, just modified, right? 45D or something.
Yeah, they don't actually say. Same thing with the Enclave. There's no designation.
Right. You have to know the models and kind of look at them. So I'm pulling up pictures right now, and I'm pretty sure it's all
T-45.
Yep.
Yep. I forgot about the 45.
So we didn't get 60 until Fallout 4?
Yeah.
God, this is trivia I should know. Yeah, it was escaping me. Okay, cool.
Now that we're talking about armor, I think Vanessa maybe. Ooh, was it? I don't remember who mentioned it. Mentioned scout armor.
Yeah, that is.
That was Vanessa, right? I don't remember who's talking about
that. That's a different kind of armor.
But it's not like no, Ranger. She said Ranger armor, didn't she? Or Scout?
Yeah, she said she had Ranger armor. She mentioned that it wasn't as good as her armor because she already had Ranger armor, which, of course, you don't get regular Ranger armor in Fallout 3.
Okay, is she running a mod?
From Riley's Rangers. For the ones from Riley's Rangers. Okay. Yeah, that makes
Ranger
sense.
battle iron armor.
Yeah, that is good armor if you did the Rangers.
Oh, okay.
And that's
all right. I was
the
thinking,
best combat armor in the game.
I was
Yep,
thinking that she was like
absolutely.
running in a Fallout New Vegas mod or something.
We
where
hear
she got the
Ranger. That's the first thought
yeah,
now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's funny. All right. Sorry. Lost track. Where are we?
We are on
Lead
our
to- oh,
second to last feedback, which
here we
is
go.
Wasteland Baker.
Bakeland Spacer, right, Jess? Come on.
Bakeland, absolutely.
Bakeland Spacer. Come on. Baker, thank you so much for hopping in.
Stevie ended up exploring the Capital Wasteland, came across some scribes in a library, talked to them for a minute, pissed them off enough that they refused to buy his books that he'd been toting around for a little while. So he dumped those off in a nearby body of water because they were useless, and continued heading toward Galaxy News Radio, and ended up having to fight a behemoth alongside the Brotherhood. He would run out and punch every now and then when the behemoth wasn't looking, made sure to be out of sight when the thing turned around, but eventually got inside to talk to Three Frog, who told him he'd, talk about him on the air if he did a few things for him, and, Stevie agreed, went and got a satellite dish, installed it, came back. Tree Frog told him, was like, all right, man, you have a good day. Thanks for fighting and fights and good stuff. And Stevie continued out of the capital and ended up coming across the Red Racer facility, which I had never been to before. And lots of weird Frankenstein-like shit going on in there. He took care of the surgeon, the dog meat ended up taking care of it. And they cleared that out, got a pretty sweet coat. And when they got outside, they got a report, or they picked up a radio signal to go help the outcasts. They get down there, and they're like, "Oh, nice, sweet Pip Boy," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's mine. It's not yours." I'm like, "Nah, it's okay." They take me downstairs, and they put me inside of an egg, and the egg transports me to Alaska. And I gotta say, that's not a trip I ever wanted to take. Where he had the pleasure of sneaking through the mountains and punching people in the ass, which was the only way to get around with no weapons. I couldn't use the gun or the knife, really. They were useless. So I would run up and punch them, or sneak up and punch them, and try to sneak through. It took a lot of different tries getting through there before I finally got to the end there. And then I broke down when I got to the top and just stocked up on weapons. I just went all out and just took everything and used everything. So I wasn't going to be punching with anything bare-fisted there in the mountains. Ended up smarting off to General Chase, which he didn't seem to mind too much. It didn't change much. And went to blow up some huge guns. I managed to not kill myself thanks to listening to everyone else from last week, and then got that done. And they were like, "Oh man, you did a great job here. Get yourself a Gauss rifle and all this other shit." I'm like, "Sweet." So I used that, and I had to, because those rocket launchers were just taking me out constantly. So I had to use that Gauss rifle. But I was sneaking and punching a lot. I don't usually do a lot of sneaking, but with unarmed, man, it's pretty much the only way to go. For me, at least, because I suck at it. Got rid of the pulse field, finished all of that, and then once I got back, they were like, "Oh man, thanks for all of the work. We're going to let you have anything you want out of this room." And as soon as I go in there, that dick butt Sylvie starts throwing a fit, and a bunch of guys throw a fit with him. And so I have to grab the power fist and just punch them all to death. And then I go over to Olin, and immediately as soon as I walk up, Olin's like, "Oh God, I wouldn't wipe my ass with you or whatever." And as soon as I interact, she's like, "Oh, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be alive. Thank you so much. What can I do for you?" I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So I took everything, went back to Megaton, threw it all on the desk, got this shiny electric sword that I'm never going to use chilling there. crawled into bed and went to sleep with Tree Frog playing or talking about Stevie Seagull on the radio, which was nice and sweet. So he's looking forward to the next thing he has to do. Until then, see you in the wasteland.
He mentioned a shiny sword he will never use. Is there any sort of like display cases that you can build in the Megaton? I know that there's like, you know, you can make a thing that makes stem packs or chems and stuff. Is there any like oh, look at my nice sword and this set of armor?
You have to make your own because you can, you know, drop and place everything. You have to kind of make your own and arrange them.
Okay, so you can place stuff around the abode. Neat.
Yep. Especially if, you know, you're a monster and you have a suite in Tenpenny because it's got some really great shelves.
I could be a monster for some great shelves.
They're nice. They're nice. Good floors, too. Yeah, Lee says there's a great locker to put it in. Exactly. You can't look at it, but you know it's there.
Baker mentioned going to the Red Racer. Never been before. Some Frankenstein shit going on there. Any ideas?
You mean at the Red Racer factory?
I believe that's what he said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, because you pass by it, you pass by it on your way down, depending on the route you take to get to the Outcast Lair. So it's a big old building.
Sounds
Frankenstein
fun.
stuff, though. I'm not sure what he means by that.
I'll have to go check it out and see.
There's a group of raiders there.
Beautiful. I haven't seen a behemoth yet. Evidently, there's a behemoth on that way, too.
I might have to check that out again.
That's just outside of GNR.
Oh, right. Because he said he went and got... he pronounced it about 4 different ways, I think. Tree dog. Tree
frog.
Tree frog. There you go. Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Baker. Always a pleasure to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, that was great. And I double checked. Okay, so the Raider gang in there are actually run or led by the surgeon, mad scientist with missile launcher, who is doing brain implants in the creatures that you've been fighting. So yeah, there is Frankenstein stuff in there. I haven't been in there this playthrough at all. Gonna have to go check that out.
Whoa, he's brain swapping and shit? Yeah.
Yeah, I went in there for something. What did I go in there for?
Some good loot too.
The brain swap bobblehead. All right. We have Baker there. Last but absolutely not least, we have Mr. Sullivan. So welcome, Sully.
Hello, Fallout Feed. Sully here with my feedback on my Fallout 3 character, Sundance. Getting out of the baby gate when Dad was away. His 10th birthday, when Butch tried to steal his sweet roll, and he refused to give it up. The special BB gun that he got, and the practice that he had killing the rad roaches. Taking up for Amada when Butch and the rest of the tunnel snakes were harassing her. The fight that ensued. Dad leaving. Protecting Amada. Killing all the people and the guards that he had grown up with. All these things were just flashing through Sundance's mind like a film that he was watching on Vault movie night. Suddenly he snaps back to reality with the creaking of the metal from the building that's destroyed across from the vault entrance. Thinks about how to proceed with his next steps, or just some of the things he's thinking of. He remembers the information he had read on the Overseer's terminal talking about a settlement called Megaton. He figured that would be the next place to go to try to get some answers and to unload all of the things he took with him as he left the vault. He figured that he was going to need a way to make some kind of money or some way to barter for supplies and needed items. So Sundance left with everything that he could carry because he knew he probably would never be able to come back. As he took the over-encumbered slow walk, he passes the old Springvale Elementary School Thinking to himself that might be a good place to scavenge for some things, he quickly decides against it because he is already carrying more than he can handle. So Sundance presses on towards Megaton. He sees the sign that is pointing the way to the town, and as he makes it in, he is greeted by the sheriff of the town of Megaton, one Lucas Sims. He welcomes him in and gives him a few directions of where the various shops and businesses are. Sundance questions him about what appears to be a large atomic bomb that is undetonated in the middle of the town, and Lucas explains to him that it has been fine, but if he could do anything about it, he would be very appreciative. So Sundance agrees that he has some knowledge of electronics, and he will take a look at it. So he proceeds on and goes down and first wants to unload his burden, stopping by Craterside Supply to speak with the proprietor, Moira. After some conversation, he sells all of his wares that he did not need, and then somehow agrees to get roped into doing some testing to help Moira with some type of survival guide. So before he starts that, he leaves out and goes down to take a look at this bomb. After some finagling and some careful examination, Sundance is able to disarm this bomb and goes back to Lucas and tells him that it is all taken care of. He is thanked and rewarded with some caps. So Sundance bids him farewell and heads back to Moira. He gets the first part of this quest for this survival guide from her. So he's off to find food and medicine at a local abandoned super duper mart. Sundance heads for the location with the directions provided by Moira. As he approaches the building, he sees a young boy running from a death claw. Sundance quickly whips out his weapon and starts firing, managing to kill the Deathclaw, which had conveniently killed some raiders outside of the Super Duper Mart, and likewise the raiders had almost killed the Deathclaw. Now that the little boy has calmed down, Sundance goes and speaks with him. Turns out his name is Brian Wilkes, and he's looking for somebody to try to help find his dad. Sundance promises him he will help him, but he has to finish his assigned task at the moment, and he will get back with him at a later date. He agrees and leaves to go back towards his home. Sundance proceeds into the Super Duper Mart, and it seems pretty abandoned, at least at first. As he searches through and finds some foodstuffs and medicines and a bunch of scrap, he makes his way to the back of the store and he suddenly hears voices. Great. More raiders. So with sneaking up, and he starts to snipe off some of the raiders from cover of one of the shelves. And he managed to kill 2 of them before the others become alerted and come out to search. Well, after a little bit of a firefight, Sundance has killed all the raiders and then continues to look and find anything of use in the store. After a thorough search and stripping the bodies of the fallen raiders for anything of use or of value, Sundance turns to leave when he all of a sudden hears more voices. He thinks to himself, great. And here I thought I was done with this. Apparently there were some more raiders that had been out on a scouting party and coming back, but they saw their dead compatriots out front, and they were on high alert. So after another short battle and some hiding and sniping kills, Sundance is able to overcome the odds and take out all the rest of the raiders. When he gets back to Megaton, he thinks he's going to give Moira a piece of his mind. She should have known that raiders had been holed up in that place. But it's over and done with now. He has some good loot. takes it back to Moira. She apologizes and said she's going to put that in the book, that you need to be very careful when exploring abandoned places. Sundance says he is done with her task for now and takes his reward and tells Moira he has other obligations to attend to. Sundance sets off for Grey Ditch, which is the name of the town apparently where the little boy Brian lives at. As he arrives in Grey Ditch, he gets attacked by some large mutated ants. And apparently they can breathe fire. So after dispatching those, he ends up finding Brian hiding out in a Pulowski preservation shelter. He gets him out and speaks to him about what was going on in Grey Ditch, and Brian proceeds to tell him everything with his father and Dr. Lesko and the pertinent information of the ants. Sundance tells him to go and get back in the shelter and stay there until he comes back. Sundance makes his way around the town of Grey Ditch, taking out any ants that he finds, and proceeds to go down through the metro station to find this Dr. Lesko and see exactly what's going on. As he kills the ants along the way, he is able to find Dr. Lesko and speak to him about what he's been doing. Apparently this guy is a real douche, and Sundance is not enthused with him. He understands the need for trying to reduce the size of the ants and trying to take care of these different mutated creatures, but it's not worth it at the cost of human lives. Sundance decides then and there that Dr. Lesko is going to pay for what he's done, but he decides to play it safe and see if he can make the best out of this horrible situation. So he agrees to go and kill the ants so Dr. Lesko can get back to his computer and finish his research. So as Sundance makes his way through the train tunnels and down into the ground, he kills all the ants, gets down to the queen's nest, kills all the fire ant nest guardians, but does not attack the queen at this time. With all of them cleared out, he goes back to Lesko, and Lesko rewards him with a mutagen he has made from samples he has taken from the ants. After being rewarded for completing his task, Sundance said it's time to set things right and proceeds to blow the head off Dr. Lesko. He figures this is the closest way to get justice for all of Brian's family and friends, and to keep anybody else's family from having to go through a similar type of situation. So now, on to take care of this ant queen to make sure there will be no other mutated fire-spewing ants to terrorize the wasteland. So back down into the cavern Sundance goes. He goes down to the ant queen and starts shooting at her, while accidentally hitting the Protectron as well, so now he has two enemies attacking him. Unfortunately, Sundance had miscalculated the amount of ammunition he had with him, and had to abandon the queen fight and head back to Megaton to restock his supplies and ammunition. And that's where we will leave off with Sundance's story for now. I thank you for the opportunity to join in and be part of another roundtable, and I will see you in the wasteland.
Absolutely. You're most welcome to join us, Sully. We love it to hear from you. What was the boy? Let's see, what was it? A boy being chased by the death call. What did that turn out to be? Brian Wilkes or something, right?
Yep.
My favorite. Okay, this was it. My favorite part was the super smart, wise nugget, this golden nugget of survival advice by one Miss Moira, who writes the survival guide. Get this wonderful nugget of survival advice. Be careful when exploring abandoned places. Is her big main advice.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's why she sends you to them.
For some reason, it seems like I broke the quest. I don't really know what happened there. But so I can't do it this time. Does she send you to like one place with super mutants, one place with raiders, one place with? Does she like categorize it kind of like that?
I mean, to an extent, except not with super mutants. You know, you're
No
not
super
really
mutants.
doing that per se.
No muties. They're downtown anyway. She's an uptown
She's not a
girl.
monster.
Yeah. When she sends you to Rivet City, you know, with the history quest, that's probably the closest you would come, I think. But yeah, you've got the Mirelurks, and you've got the Mole Ratties. You know, you've got a lot of specific
Radiation.
quests.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Oh,
And of course, Raiders at the Super
Yeah.
Duper Mart.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of why your quest would be bugged, Andrew.
I have no idea. Something's wrong. Bethesda, am I right?
Yeah.
Every time you walk up to her corpse, there's
Yeah,
no option.
She's starting to smell bad, and I don't know. It's bugged. Well, yeah.
Well,
Those
flies.
Those are the bugs that some people like, though. When you can actually, you know, when the threads of history can unravel, and you can actually break a quest. That's fun.
I like that, Ray. The bugs are the flies buzzing around her corpse.
Oh my god.
Oh, poor Moira. All right. Hey, that wraps up our feedback, guys, and it is only two hours into the show. We made some pretty darn good time, so we don't gotta rush through our iguana bits like we usually do. But let's take a nice leisurely stroll. Why don't we?
Jessica, to the office, please. Jessica, to the office. Your iguana bits are ready. Please come pick them up.
What do we got?
Thank you, Jess. Y'all, we got a new community calendar for 76 this week. Have you seen this, Andrew?
Community calendar for 76. No, I have not. What's in this community calendar?
And
Is it a start date for our next season?
Yes, we have all of that. So first of all, we did know that it was going to be starting on the 26th, but it is listed specifically on the community calendar. So this is wild, y'all. This is wild. We have so much Fallout coming our way, and they are trying to pack it all into 76. Just in case you thought there wasn't enough to do, they want to make sure you know there's stuff to do. So the month of March that we're in right now, we are hitting a double score weekend right now. We are in a double score weekend. If you have not somehow finished the scoreboard in the 14 weeks so far allotted to you, you have a week to go. Get double score. And then the new update will drop on March 26th, and that will be season 16 coming out. Rip Daring and the Duel with the Devil. And then we'll also have the America's Playground, which is the Atlantic. You like that title? And we'll have the Atlantic City.
That's
update.
just silly.
It's
Does
pretty
that have something to do
funny.
with the Blue Devil, I hope?
With the Jersey Devil.
Oh, Jersey Devil. Even better. Cool.
Because Atlantic City, yeah. So this is our second Rip Daring season. As we know, Rip Daring is a cryptid hunter. But this time, he and his trusty sidekick and Nurse Guinevere, those are his companions. I'm forgetting the name of his Mr. Handy, but he's got a Mr. Handy, and he's got a nurse friend. And he's got a big old flamethrower for this one. He's going to be fighting the Jersey Devil. So that's the theme of next season. Now, this is where the new season systems will be starting, but there is still an overarching story that they kind of dropped to us through a few things and on the mural now. So instead of getting a final scoreboard like we've been getting, when you complete it, you get kind of a poster mural for the season put on your wall. So it's different, but you still get a souvenir in the same way. But like I said, lots of iguana bits. Because April, we are getting a Mothman equinox.
What?
Yeah, beginning of April, Mothman equinox that'll be going on during the show. The Fallout show premiere, of course, is the 11th, as we know.
Okay,
And then in May, we get Invaders from Beyond.
What?
Aliens. So yeah, we just finished Vashnak. Then we get Mothman. Then we get in Aliens. But that's not all, because end of May, we're getting Meat Week.
But that's not all.
Exactly. Better be hungry. I hope you want 2 helpings of Meat Week, because we are getting 2 weeks of Meat Week. And then in June, and I know you're sitting with bated breath, like how many?
4 weeks of Meat Week.
No, 2 weeks of Fashnacht.
Oh, fucking. Are you kidding me? That's so dumb. Come on. Bring back
at least 2 aliens.
Bring back the Halloween event that they fucking canceled like 6 years ago.
This is ridiculous. From someone who loves events and loves the game, and I understand they want to bring events more. John was saying, a couple months ago that really some of what they're aiming for with this year in 76 and in general is to have more server-wide events and community events, and they said they would add an event or 2 this year too, which is great.
Fun.
Okay, but we still only want them once a year each. Okay, seasonal events. That doesn't mean every season you get all the events in the game. No, an event or 2 per
every season.
It's this is when people turned against Fashnacht. The first years of Fashnacht, everybody loved it. Favorite event. Oh my God, it's awesome.
Yep.
Then we get Fashnacht for Halloween.
No.
People so mad. And after that, it's always like, oh, they're going to give us another Fashnacht. Only 1 year did we get it twice. I mean, well, besides the aborted start too. We had the aborted start time, but that's just, things went wrong.
I feel like they've done that with Meat Week too, though.
Yeah, they have. We've gotten Meat Week twice in a year a number of times. So that's kind of where the whole 2 helpings of Meat Week started. Was initially we'd get Meat Week for a week, and then in like August something, then they do it again late September. So I mean, I like the fact that they have events going, but I think they have to understand part of the draw of events like this are that they are kind of rare, and the way that it brings the server together and people back who haven't been playing for a while, who've taken a couple months off, that's great too. But that's because they got a couple months off in between. If you're giving them a big server-wide event for 2 weeks every month, that's 2 out of 4 weeks. That's a lot. with Aliens and Meat Week in May, we're getting 2. I'm just amazed. Oh, that's not all. There's also a cool community challenge event. We don't know all the details yet, but it's called the Spring Cleaning Challenge Event. So that will probably be like when the Brotherhood wanted all of our concrete and stuff. Maybe something like that. They want us to clean out our stash boxes with some spring cleaning. We'll find out.
Oh, Jess, I have a note here. Special announcement for a special event to coincide with the release of the TV show. They are bringing back Nuclear Winter for a week.
That is a lie.
I swear.
I would love it. Okay, yeah, so give me my nuclear winter. Give everybody their nuclear winter. But no, unfortunately, we're not getting that. We're getting the kitchen sink, but no nuclear winter. However, I did bury the lead on all this, okay?
What's the lead?
You couldn't see the really exciting part. Remember I said there's going to be an update on the update after the update?
Yes, I remember. I was edge of my seat.
I know, exciting, right? The title for June is Skyline Valley Update and Season 17. So Season 17 will, of course, be the next season after this one. So it looks like we'll get the usual 12 to 13 weeks on the season, most likely. But Skyline Valley
Skyline Valley, what's that mean?
So initially people were kind of, like, what does that mean? Does this have to do with the map expansion? Well, I'm here to say, yes, it does. So the Skyline Valley update is probably the map expansion down south in the Shenandoah Valley, or at least a prelude to it. Okay, so for those who don't know Shenandoah, there's only one major road through along the Ridgeway on the side of the valley, and that's called Skyline Drive. Some part of the area is actually sometimes referred to as Skyline Valley, but you take Skyline Drive through the Shenandoah Valley, and yeah, it's a 105-mile drive the most scenic drive through, and
Well,
I assume they're naming the update after that. So if we're not getting the full update, which I'm guessing we will, it'll at least be an intro to the area and getting us started. So that's super exciting. And while there's not a date on that, because as we know, these things are subject to change, they have it June. So I would assume, given the length of the season in the 26th, I would assume end of June, possibly early July if it gets pushed.
and you can count on that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited. Oh, Sullivan has a little update since he's, in the area somewhat. I mentioned Skyline Drive starts in Front Royal and goes all the way through the mountains until it connects to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Exactly. So, cool scenic route, cool name for the update, Skyline Valley.
I think that was verse 3 of that John Denver song, right?
Maybe expand a little bit. Is there a rivalry about that song between like Virginians and West Virginians?
I don't know. Do Virginians have claim to that song?
I don't know. I was thinking there was a story that he hadn't actually been to West Virginia at the point that he wrote it.
Oh, really? I just always assumed he was from there or something.
I think a lot of people did. Anyway, that's all apocryphal. I'd have to look it up to know. But yeah, I'm glad we're going to Virginia. I'm excited about this, but it's still Appalachia. You know what I mean? The Shenandoah Valley is still a part of Appalachia.
Absolutely.
So we're keeping it connected there. So that's community calendar. Way too many freaking events.
Too many events.
But it will give people something to do besides, the usual when they're in game. It will bring some people together. I get the motivation there to keep it active. And we're going to have the new Atlantic City stuff during all this as well. So lots and lots to do for people coming in, checking out the game because of the TV show. Or just playing the game.
Do you think there'll be a direct influx of people checking out 76 because of the show?
Yes. I would say most definitely. I mean,
yeah.
The series in general, of course, and if the Fallout 4 Next Gen update comes out, fantastic. But without that, obviously the most recent Fallout game they have is 76, and I think they want people to be excited for it, and they would like it to be active. So I think that's one reason why they're trying to make sure there's a whole lot going on in the 3 months around the show.
They're going to drop this Fallout 4 update when the show drops, right?
I mean, we don't know.
It's going to be a secret drop.
Yeah, like I was saying, the anthology is coming out. Great time to have things ready in a month to drop Fallout 4 on us next gen along with it. But nothing's been stated. Also, I'm getting a bit of a geography lesson that the Blue Ridge Mountains are in Virginia, and the Shenandoah River is almost completely in Virginia, but there's a small part in West Virginia. Technically, and this is what I was thinking of, technically the song was actually written about a road they were driving down in Western Maryland. So, yeah, so he was in Western Maryland, not West Virginia, and picturing that when he wrote the song. Pretty close, though.
Sometimes you got to change the words to make them fit,
Exactly, absolutely. So what else is there in Iguana Bits? Well, the South by Southwest event did happen. I mentioned a little bit last week because it was starting and there were already some people there. But the whole Philly thing was fun. It seemed like people had a great time. I'm sure a lot of people listening have seen videos and pictures from it now. The little town they set up of Philly based on the Fallout TV show outside South by Southwest. Some of the games and stuff they had, a little bit gruesome at times, but they leaned into that with actors and such. But because all the actors were there and Todd was there were a number of interviews as well. So I thought I'd mention a couple things that came up. One thing that was fun in an interview was Todd mentioned it was his first time at South by Southwest. But he said at the same time, he gets down there pretty regularly to see the studio. And then he went on to talk about, how Bethesda Austin is the primary studio responsible for Fallout 76, and he visits them regularly and stuff. So I thought that was good to hear that he travels down there regularly to see the studio. He was also asked, so you know they call you God Howard in some circles, right? How do you feel about that? And Todd may have blushed a little, and he very skillfully said, very skillfully, without addressing exactly, said, I don't have the exact quote. I wish I had that in front of me, but it was essentially, I still don't get the respect for my kids, or doesn't make a difference in what my kids think. So I thought that was pretty well done. Some interesting things that also have been making the news. So a couple times, the show, I think I mentioned last week, but the show had been called Fallout 5, or it's almost like Fallout 5. That caused some controversy over the last week, of people saying they're trying to say the show is Fallout 5 and we're not going to get a game even longer. And that was addressed at the event as well. That when they were talking about that they're talking about how, some of the parts are canon, that it's going to be as vital and have as much story as a game. And, but it's not really Fallout 5. Although then jokingly, it was said, well, maybe it's Fallout 6. And that got a big laugh. But yeah, so it's not Fallout 5 people. But Todd also said that he did tell them there were a couple things they couldn't do in the show because, we're going to do that in Fallout 5. So that's just, gets people excited because like, what does Todd know that we don't, which is of course everything, but also like, what do the directors of the show now know that we don't, and how can we get it from them? So expect a lot of clever questions trying to find out what they know about Fallout 5.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my next question. Like, so these people are going to get gouged somehow for information for let's see what the plot of 5 is. And do you think it could possibly make them push Fallout 5 even further out into the future?
No, I wouldn't put it that way. No, I think it has no bearing on it one way or the other. I do think that if the show is as successful as it could be, and certainly, people's excitement. But the thing is, I'm in the middle of the Fallout bubble. So I don't necessarily know about the excitement for the Fallout TV show outside of our sphere. And I don't think any of us here necessarily know that well, what people think outside of our sphere. But people are asking about it. I'm going to check in with family members and just remind them, hey, this is that show, that game I'm crazy about, and see if they've heard of it or not. So we'll see it.
Do you think that the producers of the show were given a list of things they were not allowed to do, or outlines were drawn and submitted to Todd et al. For approval of topic?
Well, he has an executive producer credit on this, right? Or executive consultant.
Yeah, I doubt he's on the goddamn set, though,
I don't
right?
think he gave them a list of things they can't do, because what if they were never thinking of it? He's not going to try to let that get out there. But I'm sure they had talks and conversations about plot ideas and some cool points, and that's when things came up, most likely. Wouldn't you figure, Ray, in production, that's kind of how it would be, is more like during brainstorming or ideas, as opposed to reading the script and, you can't do this?
Yeah, I mean, it would have come out during script writing, before anything else really got, solidified. So
right, they wouldn't want to get too deep into the process at that point.
Yeah,
and I can't imagine they have stuff written down in such a way that they would like give them a list and say, no, you can't do any of these things. It would be more,
Yeah,
that'd be more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah,
it's easier to strike through on a script than it would be to, try to, put stuff out there that potentially could get leaked.
Yeah, and in the world of, we can't have a week without some kind of controversy or people getting worked up about things. There was a comment in one of the interviews, or a press event that was done around the show by Jonathan Nolan, where he made the statement that setting out to appease fans of the games would have been a fool's errand. He said, I don't think you can really set out to please the fans of anything or please anyone other than yourself. I think you have to come into this trying to make the show you want to make and trusting that, as fans of the games ourselves, we'd find the pieces that were essential to us and try to do the best version. Okay, you get the whole quote. That makes perfect sense. They're fans. They want to do the best version. They're aiming for the story first. You can't please everybody, and you set out to tell a good story. You don't set out to please the fans, because a lot of times hardcore fans don't even know what they want. But of course, all people are quoting is, appease the fans of the games would have been a fool's errand. I don't think you can set out to please the fans. So if you hear the partial quote or you see that in a headline, please know there's more to the quote. And from everything I've seen, they're respecting. I mean, you guys have all seen the trailers, both of them, and all the different interviews I've read and watched. They really seem to be respecting the world, the theme. And I would say the lore, but I imagine honestly there will be some things that break lore in a very, in a rules lawyer kind of way. But for the most part, it shouldn't. And as we've said many times, just because you haven't seen something before doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Is Jonathan Nolan? Is that his name?
Yes.
Is he a gamer? Has he played Fallout games?
Yes. Yeah, he actually talks about how he derailed his career a little bit with his obsession with Fallout 3. That
oh, nice.
Some of the stuff he was supposed to be doing, that he was very obsessed with Fallout 3. Now, I don't know that he's played Fallout 4 76. I imagine at this point he has, but he specifically says 3 was his big obsession at the time.
Well, that's pretty cool then, that was handed an IP that is familiar with.
Yep. And finally, and that's probably why he wanted to do it and had a bit of a proposal and everything. Finally, just a couple of things. There were a number of articles on Bethesda.net the past week or so. There's a good one on the Magic the Gathering sets. Everybody has received them by now who ordered them ahead. I've been seeing lots of people showing off their cards. The packs look great. They are pricey, but they are cool. And you can go to the official Magic website to see pictures of all the cards. So if you're interested in what's in there, they actually have a breakdown right on the Magic the Gathering website. Also, big shout out. This is an Iguana Bit shout out to my friend Brad, who is the writer for the podcast Once Upon a Wasteland. He did get the community spotlight. And actually, was that last Friday? Maybe I already shouted out last Friday. But yeah, he got the community spotlight. And so big congrats to Brad.
And there was much rejoicing.
Really nice write up on the show and talking about Fallout and all that. In the Atomic Shop, I don't think there was anything new this week. But we do have, and great timing on this, a bunch of Pittsburgh stuff back in the shop. So they're doing the City of Steel bundle again, and they're doing the City Structure bundle and the Clean Housing bundle. So lots of big build kits, lots of pit-themed stuff.
Go get your Trog flags here.
Mm-hmm. And finally, if you are interested in what's coming on the new season scoreboard, they have updated the seasons page on the website now, so you can flip through all the items like we do sometimes. You can kind of see the layout, the setup of what some of it's going to look like. And so I thought all that was very interesting. They're also showing some pretty cool new season rewards, like a really cool flamer. I think it's called the Cremator, that's going to be Rip Daring's weapon, the Cremator. It's not just a flamer. And he's got an Assaultron buddy, too. You can unlock Adelaide, an Assaultron actress who will adorn your camp and sign autographs for adoring fans. Nice alliteration.
Way. That's great.
Yeah, I'm going to put the image in the Discord of what the new seasons board looks like. I shared the original one, but here's a more detailed one from the actual screens, if you want to know. But that'll just about wrap up my Iguana Bits. Some good stuff this week, but the community calendar was, of course, the big one.
Nice pith helmet. Bigfoot rug. That's hilarious.
Pith helmet, yeah.
Pith helmet's that hard safari hat thing.
Andrew was looking at the picture I shared right there. You've got the Rip Daring outfit with the cool leather jacket, the Pepper's Paint double barrel shotgun.
I like the Bigfoot rug. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and more cryptid references. Bigfoot. We're going to get all the cryptids in the game.
Oh, I can't wait to kill Bigfoot.
I don't think you're going to get to kill Bigfoot.
Come here, Nessie.
It's true. Every cryptid we meet in the game, we kill, though. Oh, I didn't realize that.
That is true. Yeah, they're so awful.
Except for, the smiling man. If you count him as a cryptid.
What isn't a cryptid these days?
And Suliore says not the mega sloth. It's true. We don't kill all of them. We don't have to, at least.
Has he ever played Fashnacht?
It's true. There's a big old sloth bashing at the end. Try saying that fast.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a toughie. All right. Any other topics that anyone would like to discuss on the show this evening?
All good here.
Well, I just wanted to give a shout out to my hometown of Winchester, Indiana. That was just had some tornadoes go through last night and wrecked a lot of buildings around town, and a lot of people are down and out and needing of some assistance. So if you have the time or the heart, donate to the local Red Cross to get the some assistance to people. It stinks. People's houses get destroyed and whatnot. But so I was panicking because my mom was like, "No, Mom, you all right?" But she happened to leave a day early for her trip, so she wasn't in town. I was like, "Oh, beautiful. Good. Couldn't pick a better time to hit the road early."
Also, shout out to Chicken Nuggies.
What?
Sullivan.
What happened?
Yeah, I think he had chicken nuggies. So shout out to them.
Nuggies are the best.
They really are.
Absolutely. All right. Everyone, please go check out his No Man's Sky podcast. New episode just dropped today or yesterday.
Today. Yep.
At BBC ISSS for the Butcher, Baker, and Candlemaker in Space. Also at Ray LB. Ray, thanks so much.
Good times.
You can find her at SleepIs4T, also Damn Sue Game, and at You Wastelanders. Jess, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Join our Facebook group to interact with me, and our show can be found at the Fallout Feed. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout Feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
Apparently this guy is a real douche.
Barefisted there in the mountains. Tree Frog told him, he was like, all right, man.
Some gobbledygook.
I was getting it from two sides.
I lost all my clothing.
And then the mysterious stranger shows up.
I knew it.
She went boom. We did have a little incident.
When I got there, I was evil.
Oh my, indeed.
The man opener. When I play very hard.
They want to make you see stars. I'm having a good time. Oh my God, is it horny? I want to jump my bones. You can go back and do the broad strokes, but sometimes the little strokes matter, okay? And there were some pretty big little strokes. I mean, people died. Bosses are difficult.
Amble through the wasteland looking like a Ninja Turtle.
Does that exist?